Yeah. That was such a smart thing to do. One time I forgot to vote because, well, it was before mail ballots, and it wasn't on my radar because, there weren't other things to vote on, and the next day I went, oh my gosh, didn't vote go down.
We got elected.
Okay, all right, I'll do it.
Total votes cast were 300.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really, is that election?
Yeah,
Simple
before
job.
mail-in ballots happened and before it was moved to November.
Oh my gosh. I like that your dinner's a little bit more.
Are you proud of me over my gummy
That's
bears?
I brought a protein bar.
I had a Lara bar before this, so see, I'm getting better.
I actually almost called you and said, do you need me to bring you food?
Well, I forget. I always bring lunch, but I never bring dinner.
Right.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. Oh, my hands are cold. So, yes, I brought a healthier one. Oh, thank you.
So, Patty?
Yeah, I have a friend that owns like a little
Okay, come on,
online
recreate
boutique,
that
so
entrance.
it's fun to get stuff.
Oh, I didn't
you know, like, yeah, she's got a kind of like,
I don't know.
medium vibe.
Skip around
better
the
with a howdy.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a couple dresses like this too. So, yeah.
She likes to be dramatic. Debbie and Jane are definitely coming. Debbie is leaving early though.
And Terry's gonna.
Are we gonna go through that thing that Debbie sent?
I
Oh, you
printed it,
printed,
yeah.
okay, good.
So we need one more.
I thought it was really good. So.
Yeah.
Now, this is a different configuration.
Yeah, I'm trying something.
It's more Knights at the Round Table.
I like it better.
Yeah.
Well, the other way was way too long. and
Yeah,
four
'cause you'd have to
tables
look
is too
this-
many, so we're gonna have to squeeze in another
Thank you.
person over here.
I like this block party on Main idea.
Me too.
Would that be instead of parties in the park?
Yes, we're consolidating
So you
and
can't-
broadening the scope.
Oh, one of you are
Okay,
good.
That
I think I'm gonna,
Yes,
Throwing them.
you're just throwing.
as long as we have a
somebody
willing
taking notes?
partner.
Oh yeah, who is volunteering to take notes this evening?
Not me, boy, that was a doozy last time. Oh, my, did I? Oh, I was
You're leaving
nervous.
early, so you can't,
Yeah.
so one of you two ladies is on. You can do rock, scissors, paper to figure it out.
I hate being the I know, me too. I
Oh, really?
After
At
I
least-
really
at least
don't
you're
mind.
honest.
I'd be
if there are no
treasurer,
other-
I'll be
Yeah.
president.
Oh, really?
I hate being secretary.
Marcy, are you
Good to
willing?
know.
I've been corresponding
Oh, okay.
secretary,
Marcy,
that's
if you
okay.
Send them to me and I'll,
Okay.
you know,
Edit them,
format
clean them
it.
up, make them look pretty.
Do you have paper? Do you want some paper to?
I'm just gonna like say arrow here and then do.
That's what I did.
Okay, all right. Let me know if you run out of space, because I have
Yeah,
one of those.
I've got paper here too.
Do this.
Oh, I brought an extra agenda. You
Pens
need
like
it?
stapled on both sides.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
call this meeting to order. Public comment? Anyone from the public?
This is the.
No public? Okay. So, welcome Jane.
Hi, everybody.
We're in agenda. We just started. So number 3 on the agenda is meet with Ranch Capital representative, and he is here. Bill Jenks is.
Good evening.
Welcome.
So does everybody know Bill, or do
I
you?
can't remember if we've met or not.
I came to one of these
Yeah.
meetings a couple of months
Yeah.
ago.
It was in July. I wasn't here
Yeah.
actually. So.
Anyway, would you like me to do an introduction?
Yeah, that would be great. I think we have a new member since then.
Sure,
and,
sure.
Yeah, just
I
tell
heard
us.
you speak. Yeah.
I like your hair.
Oh.
It does look good.
I'm glad I came.
So I'm Bill Jenks. I represent RC Superior. We're the master developer of the downtown Superior across the street. So we're responsible. We bought the property 3 years ago and got it entitled with the PD entitlements 3 years ago with the town board. I'm responsible for doing all of the infrastructure improvements, building all the roads, all the lights, all the trees, and ultimately working with partner developers to build out the town center. So we're working with home builders like Wonderland Homes, Remington, and Thrive right now to build those homes that you see going up. We did the deal with the sports stable in the first place to build that building, and we're working with the hotel and everybody else who's building over there. I'm still working on new deals to bring new development into the project. So That's my biggest focus. I'm an architect by training, so I grew up doing kind of urban design for a long time for multifamily and retail and office projects. That's pretty much it. Happy to be here and look forward to seeing what we have for the artwork. We're excited to get some signage up for the center, which we brought to the board a month ago or so, a couple months ago, and the response was that we wanted to figure out the sign or the artwork in the roundabout first. So happy to be moving that forward and looking forward to seeing what we have today. I'm probably not going to come to the Monday meeting since I'm here tonight and I'll see everything here. I'll probably just call it or watch it on the internet on Monday.
Will he see the art concepts?
No, because we don't even have.
Oh, you don't have
We
them
only
yet.
have the one that we just showed you.
Okay.
That's all we have as far as concept and presentation right now. so.
Okay. Well, you're going to have more by Monday?
Yeah, it'll be a very short meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
We have
Okay, well,
stuff.
maybe we'll
Which hotel is going in?
right now, the one under construction is called The Element. It's a Weston brand.
Oh,
It's actually pretty cool. They have a sort of a super green spin on things. So they have a saltwater pool instead of chlorine. They tie all
Those
their
are so
HVAC.
cool because you float so
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, and they're obviously a lot easier on the environment than the chlorine is. They tie all their air conditioning to the check-ins so that they're not wasting electricity and things like that. They use
that's good.
natural materials, and so it's an interesting concept. They're going to be open this winter is their plan. The building will probably start looking done by like end of summer, and then they'll have to finish the rooms and get everything furnished and everything. So, and I'm working on a second hotel deal next to it, but that hasn't. There's nothing really to talk about yet. We're just marketing it.
Do they have any desire for a really cool piece of artwork in the front?
They're actually they were talking about it originally. He was talking about some kind of an animal. They put animals in front of all of their hotels.
They do because
Prairie dog.
I said prairie dog.
Finally,
I told him
now
prairie
we're
dog.
I would love it.
I was shooting for prairie dog.
Because they do. If you go online and look at their hotels,
Yeah.
they all
All
pretty
the
much
elements?
have a.
No, the
West-
Glacier House is the developer who's building the
Oh,
hotel.
okay.
So Glacier House is the developer. Weston Element is the hotel flag or the brand that is operating it.
I think a pack of coyotes.
That could be nice.
Eating a
You
prairie
hear
dog.
that?
I'm happy.
With a prairie dog in front of
If we come up with if you guys want to come up with some concepts or ideas, I'm happy to shoot it over to them. He's been thinking about it. I don't know. It's his deal. I'm not involved on that land anymore, so it's kind of whatever he wants to do. But
Glacier.
happy to send him.
Glacier
House. Glacier
Yeah,
House
then-
Hotels. is
Then
the
we
developer.
should hop on that opportunity to have some influence.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have contact information, that would be
Sure.
great. Which just makes me think of one other thing that might be fun to discuss. One of the things I've looked at is in areas that are redeveloping, they do things like put artwork in the fencing that's out there or along a section of area that they want to draw attention to. And I know that it's not reconstruction over there, but you have construction over there, so it might be interesting to talk about potential art projects to distract from the construction components of it.
Temporary on the construction
Something,
fencing.
yeah,
or
something
like-
on the
Yeah,
fencing,
sure.
or another one. It was in Greenville, North Carolina. I think they had artwork, temporary artwork, put down their main street, so that it was a draw for people and something for people to look at and talk about other than the
Yeah.
construction or the giant dirt pile and things like that.
Anything to distract from the giant dirt
Yeah,
pile,
yeah.
please.
You could paint the dirt pile.
Well, the cool thing is if you've driven up there, I drove up there last weekend and it's like, whoa, you go to the south and there's 2 more big roads in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes
Where's
up
that?
in
Oh,
downtown.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, you go like this, where Remington's building, and then
Right.
you go up a little bit and there's 2 streets that are going that direction. So
Yeah,
it's
Discovery
kinda
Park.
cool.
Discovery Parkway will be open
It
soon.
is
so
open.
that
Well,
kind of-
I drove through it.
Yeah, yeah.
There was no, do not go here.
It'll be
Discovery
officially
Parkway
open
goes
soon.
will go
Uh-huh.
through, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
It actually does now. It's
It does,
paved and everything.
yeah.
It's not. I don't think officially open to the public, but it's
Mhm.
not super well, very fabricated apparently.
Apparently.
But it's
I'm not
done.
quite the adventurous type, so.
And it does
You made
connect.
it through?
It does connect to the future Village Green Park that we're putting in this year, so that'll be going in this year too. So it'll all start feeling a lot more finished in the next couple of months. But yeah, I love the idea of temporary artwork. It's just that's how this committee can help, is coordinating that and finding artists or however whatever.
Yeah, or
whatever
even a
that looks
student art
like.
project
Yeah.
or something.
Sounds great,
But
yeah.
the fence thing is such an easy, simple thing to do, and again, it takes away and brings a little bit of beauty to
Yeah.
something that.
Well, and I
is-
think as it relates to, we're going to talk about this block party event. You know, we're going to need to do a lot of preparation for that when it comes to fencing and signage and all kinds of stuff. So
Mhm.
maybe that rolls into that.
Yeah, and
project.
maybe that can make that
And
area
that
look a
stays
little
there
bit
for-
nicer
yeah.
in terms of
Oh, that's a great
actually
idea.
being more finished.
Mhm.
Aren't you having a grand opening late April or something?
Yeah, so we had been talking about a grand opening late April. With this block party idea, I would tend to just say, because I really honestly, even with the grand opening, didn't want to call it a grand opening. To
Okay.
me, there's not enough there to grand open.
Yeah, right, okay.
It's a road.
And that disappoints people.
Yeah, it's I don't want to oversell it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to have a grand opening, but I want to have a grand opening when there's restaurants
When
and
there's
cool
something
stuff
grand.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
not for a medical office building and a road and the sports table that's been there for a year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even that event, I was going to call like a whatever community. We hadn't come up with a name, but whatever it is. So I actually like the idea of just combining the block party on Main with that event and having this nice big community event where we bring a farmer's market into it. It's focused on the whole community. And by the way, check out some of the homes. By the way, the medical office building is open. You know, we'll have a tent and some information there like we would have anyway. But you know, otherwise the event that's just about the project, to me, it's not that interesting. It's you know, it's.
Yeah.
it's-
And people
it's
might
more
not
intent
come,
and
whereas
some
if they
VR
come
stuff.
to a block party.
Right,
Yeah.
they're there
And
already.
the farmer's
and, oh, hey,
market,
by the
they're
way.
there, and oh, by the way.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Go look
So,
at these cool
a
things.
question for the committee is this intended to be the first, so the inaugural block party on Main, and there is the intent then to have subsequent ones, once a year, or twice a year, or 3 times a year, or is this a standalone event?
I think it would have to be standalone. April is too early for any type of farmer's market. We wouldn't be able to get vendors.
But your concept of the block party on Main is
We
that
can do it
a
in
name
August
you
or
want to
whenever you
use
want.
one
Yeah,
time
if we
for
pushed
one
it back.
event? Or is that the name
We
you
should
wanted
check
for
the notes.
recurring events?
We talked about this.
Well, I was thinking like once or twice during the summer.
Yeah, I thought we
Each
had it at
summer
least
from now
twice.
on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just want that to be clear, that this is sort of the name you want to give an event that recurs year after year after year. And there's no reason it can't, the first one can't be
Coincide,
this,
yeah.
But it, it does, probably should be in the back of everybody's mind as,
Come back in August.
well, just in the back of your minds of how would this one work and what elements of this one will be in the future ones and what will be different about this one. They don't all have to be the same.
What was the name that we came up with? We had a
Parties on
really,
Main or something.
we had a really cute name.
And didn't we have
It was-
almost a budget, or, I thought we carried it a
Well,
little further.
So so we were in conversation with Kelly, who does the farmers markets,
Okay.
and she also does a block party type event. And I looked in my folder and I don't have a printout, but do you have a copy? She gave us a proposal, and so she.
That was for parties in the park.
It was for parties in the park, but the idea was that it was a block party,
Yeah.
similar to the event that she does in
Yeah.
Erie. So it would include music and vendors and food.
And we'd have an art component somehow.
And the other part would be some kind of art component.
So sort of dining trucs?
Yes,
type of
yeah.
thing.
And her price tag, I mean, she has a whole proposal, and it was like $4,000 per event. And so that's where we're talking about, is it one event, is it 2 events, how do we do that, when? The other question is when, because we have 4th of July, there's Chili Fest in September, August is perfect, and possibly May, there is the bike race, which isn't so much a town event, but it's happening, so it's a weekend that is pulling.
And it'll be a consolidated race again this year.
So
It won't close down. It'll close half of Colton, half McCaslin. It's gonna be the short
And will it come down through Ridgetown?
Nope.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love it when it just.
When is that, when does that bike race happen? That's the Morville, or is it?
Yeah.
The third weekend in May, the 19th and 20th.
It's always Memorial Day, isn't it?
No,
No.
they backed it up out of
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
Oh, did they?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, the
I
19th.
think weather's too risky in May. I
I do,
wouldn't want
well,
it.
and besides that, for families, May is a really busy time.
Yes, I won't be there.
Everything
Right.
happens in
Yes.
So it
May.
could be potentially like
Yes.
June and August,
Yeah.
and alternating with
I
the.
like
Have it
that.
on the solstice.
I
Oh,
would say.
summer
Oh,
solstice,
perfect.
perfect,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
A solstice party.
Yeah, we
Well, we
could get
talked
very.
about it last
well,
year
that's the
when
first
we
day of
did
summer.
the block
Bring the
parties.
druids out.
And
Yeah.
we could.
We went through last year when we actually did the block parties, and we
have
picked
so
our
much.
Your log.
that would be the recurring theme. Do you remember that? We picked that weekend,
The
was
early,
it?
it was early June.
It was,
The second weekend in June.
Yeah.
Second
The
week-
first is National Trails Day.
right, and the third is Father's Day. Remember what we
The
picked the
third's
date?
Father's Day, yeah.
So maybe we should always have it the second,
Yeah.
the second Saturday in June.
It's June 9th.
Okay.
June 9th?
Is that play into the graduations anywhere?
No, around
No,
here
it
they're
should be
early.
done by
Are they
graduations
done?
are
High
much
school is-
earlier.
Okay,
Yeah.
like May.
That's a good question though.
Was there something else we
There.
were talking about in June that was a conflict, or why wasn't June, when we talked, it was?
I just said the first weekend is National Trails Day.
Okay.
Which is
And
June,
truly,
right?
with 4th of July, we need to stick with the second or third. The
Right,
9th
because
is-
you have too much on school.
Yeah.
Maybe
'cause
the
you don't want
9th would be
something a week
good,
apart.
you know.
So
kinda-
June 9th, like we did last year.
Yeah. We talked June, early June, or we talked late July, beginning of August.
Mhm.
But I think we want to do it sooner rather than later, especially if we have two this year.
Yeah, especially if we have two.
Well, and the partnership too, we have to talk about where the funding's gonna come
Yeah.
from, because if they're $8,000, you know, we have our $5,000 discretionary money. Some of that's gonna get eaten up because a lot of us wanna go to the leadership summit, which is great. But that's
On the
like-
crosswalks.
Which is about $1,300. The crosswalks is pretty minimal. I mean, the stencil might be the most expensive thing.
There is a developer at the table who might.
That's why he's here and we
Yeah,
want
that's
to
right.
discuss
Thanks.
potential.
Just saying.
I think that's why it said discuss potential partnership.
No, and especially for this first one, you know, where we had a grand opening, whatever event planned anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, we have some budget for that. You know, we'll come in, I think we need to figure out exactly what we're doing and what it all costs.
Mhm.
But, yeah, of course, we'll help put the.
That would be great if you could bump back your opening, your soft opening. We could
Yeah, just to be this
consolidate
event.
that
I
event.
think
Yeah,
that
Saturday,
makes
June
perfect
ninth.
sense.
Yeah.
And that's fine with me.
Weather
Great.
is good, yeah.
Yeah, not
Or
likely,
hopefully.
not likely
Yes.
to snow.
Yeah.
I don't really
Well,
want to have an
likely-
opening in April anyway and
You
have it
don't.
snow.
No,
and
no,
have
And we
it's
slush.
bad.
It's just
No,
too
late
risky.
May this past year.
Yeah,
May
I
20th.
totally agree.
But
April's way too
it was-
early.
Yeah, all right, so June 9th.
So June
Okay.
9th is a tentative date.
Great.
Do we want to talk about details, whether we
And
want
when
to?
are you going into this?
Oh,
Whenever you want.
Let's start with you.
okay.
Whose is this? Is this
So,
Bill's?
so Katie, myself, our marketing group, who unfortunately couldn't be here, they had a conflict, I wanted them here, but we'll have to communicate this back to them and then follow up. And then the Chamber of Commerce all got on the phone yesterday, 2 days ago. Yesterday, to sort of do a pre-meeting on this event and our ideas for a grand opening and how the chamber could be involved in that. And I think that just naturally flows into this, which is great. So the Cone, who's our marketing group, prepared this little summary of our discussion. And we can just quickly walk through what we talked about as a sort of starting point, if that makes sense for everybody. So the mission statement, marketing groups love mission statements. It's very,
Put together
very
a
finely
recap.
worded, so. And so we might as well read it collectively. Celebrate the opening of Main Street, model homes, sports stable, and the Superior Medical Center. Announce what is to come and build excitement in the community. And that's obviously the goal for our part of it, for like the grand opening part of it. I think it should be, this event should be much more about the community and community engagement and art, you know,
Yeah.
much more than just the town center. We'll be a part of it, and, you know, obviously an important part of it, but I think this mission statement for the actual event should probably be expanded to be more of a community outreach event. So our sort of goals, again, for our part of it, is to highlight the existing businesses. There's something like 30 businesses inside the sports stable that all want to come out and show what they're doing. The golf simulator will probably bring out
That's so
a golf
cool.
tent, and they want to actually host things on the field and have games in there as part of the event. So they'll open up the whole sports stable to this event and have it be sort of an indoor-outdoor thing.
Yeah.
Tease the next milestones in the development, so we'll be talking about what's to come as part of the town core. Hopefully by June we'll have more direction on new projects and be able to talk about those. Obviously the home builders will have their model homes open so people can walk through the model homes, and they'll be working on sales obviously, but anyone who's curious can go walk through the model home. We can go up to the deck and see the views. Garner interest from local media. We'll obviously want to try to get some newspapers there, but I think that's easy enough, especially if it's a big community event. We had talked at one point as part of the grand opening about maybe getting the fire truck out there and doing like a ribbon cutting thing, and maybe we still do that as part of this event, just as a sort of a sideshow. Setting downtown Superior apart from the other developments on the Front Range is kind of just a general goal. I don't know how we specifically do that, but I like the idea. Engage community partners to define a collaborative and successful event. That's obviously what we're doing here and what we're doing with the Chamber of Commerce. We'll be doing outreach with the Chamber and all the local businesses to try to get them out. I don't know whether they want to bring stuff and volunteer or how that works, or if we get food trucks, or I'm open to ideas at this point. And then establish Downtown Superior as a community hub. The whole idea behind Downtown Superior in its ultimate build-out form with the plaza and everything is to be the downtown for you guys and for the community. And so we want to start that now, even though we don't have all the infrastructure built, we don't have the parks all 100% in yet. We still want to start that process and open our doors to the public.
And Daryl, you might want to repeat what you have already said about this woman saying, have it where it's going to stay.
Have it where it's going to stay,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, even if if eventually it's Main Street, if it's just off to the side, that's fine.
Right.
But have it at the location where we want to have it in the
Yeah.
future.
Where is
Right.
it physically? Do you see the actual?
Do we have
state-
a
I mean,
plan of the project?
like in front of the sports stable, or is it going to be?
Let's try to find maybe Steven's office open. We'll try to find a plan of the project, and then we can kind of.
Because the original thought was maybe in the marketplace. And then as this
Yeah.
group discussed it, it's
Right, we've kind of moved it around.
Yeah, it
it's
should
like,
be over
if that's
there.
going to be,
Mhm.
and it's intended to be,
Yeah.
Right.
And
the nucleus,
That's what
then
makes it
have it
fun.
there.
And our Main Street is designed to be able to actually be closed for special events like this.
Mhm.
It's a little tough now because we don't have all the arterial streets to be able to funnel traffic around. I think we could still do it. I drove it today, and we've got, some of it's gravel still, but we've got temporary parking and gravel, but you could actually close those two blocks of Main Street, funnel cars around the outside, and just have the event on Main Street.
Oh,
I mean,
make
part
it
of,
like-
part of that, I think you just need to decide whether it's too inconvenient to do that, if it's easier
Right.
to do it to the side, or if it's easier
Yeah,
to do it as intended.
I
mean, it
should
might be
ask
kind of
my
fun.
construction managers and stuff before I commit
Right.
to anything.
I know,
but-
that's what I'm saying,
But,
but-
the intent is ultimately to be able to close that Main Street for special events and
Sure.
have tents in the street and do a whole walkable thing that actually connects to the plaza. That's why there's no curbs and there's those bollards.
Right, and then it would
Instead,
make
it's
a
supposed to be able to
direct
flow across.
connection into the sports stable
Makes it
where
like a
events
fair.
are
Yeah,
happening.
you
Yeah.
still have car traffic on Superior
Oh, okay.
cutting off Main
Yeah,
Street
yeah.
from the sports stable, but there's a big nice crosswalk and we have signage and, there's a stop sign there.
And what a great place for us to profile all of our public art that
That's
you're
for
going to
sure.
improve and pay to put in that development. 'Cause that is an ideal place to do it,
Yeah.
just to have a real.
Yeah, really
exciting-
to generate an interest and show, yeah.
Yeah, so if we could set up there to say, hey, look what's coming here. And I like the idea of Maine because we were doing, hopefully it'll work to cut off Maine
Yeah.
because we were doing some variations on parties parties on Maine.
We
want-
The
yeah.
main event, I think.
The main event.
Oh, the
that's
main
what it
event.
was. That's what we came up with that we
Yes.
loved, the main
So
event.
simple.
Oh my
Main
God.
event at
Yeah, that's
downtown
good. I like
Superior.
I love
The
it.
main
It is
event, tell them what
so
they're
That is so good.
The main event at
I'm
downtown
impressed.
We're a
Superior.
creative group here.
Yeah, I
That
knew
is
I knew it
very
had
good.
something with Maine in
And
it.
I knew it was really cute.
Downtown
Yeah, the main event
Superior.
at downtown
I
Superior.
love it.
Okay.
See, you guys are so much better than our marketing.
Yeah.
Let's rename the whole thing.
Yes. All right, that's
So I'm gonna check if we can close Main Street. It'd be for one, is it a 1-day event or 2-day event, or what are we thinking?
One day, yeah.
Main for
Sunday
one
or
day. And then we do have a block. Yeah, once you get that up. We do have a development block that I'm working on getting cleaned up right now and flattened out and everything and getting all the fences off of it. It's basically in front of the sports stable just to the south of Main Street. So if you're coming to Main Street, it's that block to the right just before you run into the sports stable. It's probably a 2-acre piece of dirt that's flat and unused right now that I'm going to move all the construction staging off of down into the south part of the site so you won't see it as much anymore. And that is it's dirt, so we got to figure out how we deal with that, whether we put straw down or something for a temporary deal, or if it's just straw bales in a stage or what. I don't know what exactly goes there, but it's 2 acres of space that we can use. And it's
Isn't
connected
that
to Main
where
Street, it's
Main,
connected.
isn't that where the actual town center is going?
The plaza goes on the other side of Main Street. The plaza goes on the north side of Main Street, just across from that. Let's
Okay.
move the plan up. I can show you.
I'm just trying.
Yeah, that should have something
Just
on
have
here.
something. I mean, it might take me a minute to look through all the development plans.
Are those people from Superior?
I've seen several
All
of
of
them.
the bearded
Now,
millennials
who
walking around
is,
and.
so if we
Yeah.
do the main event at Downtown Superior, who actually is in charge in doing this? Is
So
it
I think it's gonna be
you?
our
Is it
marketing.
Cone Marketing?
Yeah, Cone Marketing
Is
on
it
behalf of
CAPS?
us.
Is it Katie and it?
I think it'll be a partnership.
Yeah.
We talked like Cone would kind of.
I think we'll have a staff person at Cone kind of making sure everyone's staying on task, and that's her job. She's paid
That
to
she's organizing
be tracking all this stuff.
music and activities and food trucks.
Well,
she-
a thing, for example, if you want the flags that, I don't know, are your lampposts designed to be
Yeah.
able to allow?
Flags.
So what is designed should be reused year after year.
Yeah.
They can change colors or whatnot, but you're branding this
Yeah.
whole event.
Right.
So, I think it has to be collaboration.
You're branding the event.
Yeah.
Which is a good CD? This one?
Yeah.
But I can see lampposts all having
The
those,
same banner,
the
like
banners.
Louisville does.
You can explain up here.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah, that's great.
So just to orient everyone, this is the roundabout, this is the sports stable, this is Main Street, that's that little internal roundabout that you go through once you go into the project. So these 2 blocks of Main Street are where it's all brick across there and there's no curbs. It's actually designed to be cut off with bollards here and here so that traffic would actually have to go around the side here and you'd have an event. This is the plaza.
That's
So-
what it is,
So
okay.
yeah, ultimately, the idea is that this plaza can spill across the street and, become a whole event space fronting, the fronting retail here and here and spilling into the plaza here. For right now, there's parking on this plaza that has a little split rail fence around it, which is actually good, I think, because it provides great convenient parking for this event. We also have temporary parking that's just like gravel with some ropes up on blocks 9 and 10 right now. And so what I was talking about is block 11 is going to be open and flat, but this is where we can put a stage or whatever events we want. It's right across the street from the sports stable and it's obviously connected to Main Street. So I think if we close Main Street and just have traffic route this way through the parking lot and around here, if they want to get back anywhere else they're going, then that's fine. We also have a temporary road right now that goes somewhere like this into the parking lot over here. So I think that would work too. If we cut off the street, I got to make sure that's all going to work. We'll probably kind of clean it up a little bit before the event, but that's fine. So I would think the event actually happens along the street here. We've got a whole about 60-foot wide paved Main Street, so all the parking spaces on Main Street could just be tents and whatever else we want it to be. Tents would probably go in parking spaces, and Main Street would just be for walking in. And then we'd have this 2 acres for whatever we want to do there, whether it's a stage or whatever other.
So
I don't know, what do we
in
have?
years to come, where would people park for this event?
Well, wherever the parking is, I mean, this project, all the core is going to develop over the next 5 to 10 years probably.
So there'll be parking lots in there
Parking
somewhere?
garage.
Okay.
A garage,
A
right.
garage,
There's a
that's
garage
right.
Yeah.
somewhere.
There will be
That's
parking
right.
lots in the near term. Ultimately, there will be a large parking garage probably on block 5 here that will have, 1,000 car capacity, something like that serves all of the office and retail along Main Street. It just opened, the Met possibility just opened a 300 space garage here, which is usable now. There's a couple hundred spaces in this lot, and right now we have temporary service parking here and here that probably holds another 800 cars cars or so, something like that. And then we have a couple hundred cars of street parking available too right now. So I think we're set for right now, and in the future we'll always have.
And on
service
June
parking.
9th, presuming the weather's good, wouldn't we expect a lot of bike traffic?
I would
Yeah.
hope so, yeah. So I mean, that also.
And we
Yeah.
would encourage that, right?
Yeah. Well, there-
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people bike, well, they might. bike
We have a
down
new
to Haslett
electric
Hill.
bikes.
Yes.
Is there
But
no?
you,
That's
but
what I
you
would
could
do.
encourage people to come down
Next to the
Meadowlark.
trail right
You
here.
go Meadowlark and underneath and right
Yeah.
over there.
I think
Or
if we
what if
have-
they're coming from Rock
We-
Creek?
Market it that way.
We could
Probably
market
down here
and give direction
or
and
down to
we'll have the,
Discovery.
We
the
could also
chamber
have
map.
shuttle.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, down to.
Yeah,
Discovery.
you could do that.
Get off
Down to
the Haslett.
Discovery and then go on that road
Yeah.
that's not supposed to be driven on it when I.
Yeah, it'll be open in a couple
That's why
weeks.
those cones were in the
There
front of
won't be
your
any
car.
back, there won't be any back
Orange things now.
access possible anyway off Rock Creek Parkway up the.
This is
Nothing
all
like that.
like unimproved dirt right now with hills and ruts and
Let's see,
a big
improved.
drainage ditch going across it. Yeah,
So you could
yeah.
four-wheel
There
down
is-
there if you
There's
wanted.
a pathway right now that I discovered the other day that runs along here from the bridge. Where's the bridge? There's a pedestrian bridge.
It's further up, actually, keep going
Further
up.
towards Denver.
Near where planning area 3 is.
Right.
Yeah, somewhere around here,
Keep
right?
Yeah,
towards
somewhere in
Denver,
there.
right?
It's right across from
Right.
the hospital.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, because
somewhere.
there's the hospital.
So there is actually a dirt path that connects all the way down here to 88 and one of the streets down here.
Oh, so you could walk to the hospital
You could
that
take
way.
that up. There's no real fences or anything. It's technically private property and I can't, you know,
You can't.
technically give anyone permission to do it, but.
Well, but if you're coming from Rock Creek, and if you're only on McCasm for just a tad, turn into Discovery to go into the, you know, where you now have a road, could you have that be up just for bikes only?
But isn't the
Well, the road
sidewalk
is
finished
off the
all the
road.
way down?
Oh, you think it will be drivable by then?
It's drivable now, there's, we have to
Okay.
open it up, they've got a couple of punch list items to finish on the intersections here, which is why it's still closed, but it'll open in a couple of weeks.
But isn't the sidewalk finished all the way down to the roundabout on McCaslin? I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah, you can also go out on roundabout
Yeah.
and project here.
if you, for biking, you could easily
Either
do
way.
that.
This is probably a little more comfortable because you're on McCaslin less distance. you know,
Yeah, it's kind of
from
creepy
this.
when you see the bikes on McCaslin. It's-
There is a full
Well,
lane
that's-
there, though.
There is,
There's
there
We
is.
could
but-
ask Discovery Office Park if the garage could be used on that Saturday to park in there and then walk down.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we'll,
Hmm.
I mean, it's a question if we need it. We should figure out how many parking spaces we have usable and what we expect the attendance to be.
That should be part of
Certainly,
it.
I think, you know, I don't see why they wouldn't, except for insurance. You know, they'd have to figure out insurance for that, but,
But Superior folks turn out for free events,
yeah.
Yes.
so,
The whole region turns out for free
you
events.
know, I mean, both Chili Fest and 4th of July are very popular. So,
Yes.
and I imagine that something down there will, you know, especially because it's new.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, we can keep going through
Targeting-
this. So target audience, obviously community brokers and media, pretty simple stuff.
But now, if we're targeting audiences, community, does Cone do all this? Like, how are we gonna like
That's what we-
banners?
I
How are
think we
gonna
need-
get all
They're
that?
masters, they have it all
Okay,
figured
so basically Katie and her
Yeah.
team,
We'll do the
Are
same
you-
stuff.
What? Me?
me,
No, there's no.
you'll do all the community advertising, all the signage.
Katie and her
all the-
team, yeah.
Yeah.
You just do so much, it seems like you must have a team.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so I think
That's a good way to put it.
once we come up with like the concept and get any ideas from this
Yeah.
meeting, we're gonna need to get back together with Cohen in the room, and we're paying them to manage this process, so I want them to set the schedule, set the timeline, you know, talk about who's doing what, to the extent that the committee and or the chamber can help coordinate things with the people that you know and the businesses that you know, that will be super helpful. To the extent we need Cone to actually do anything where it comes to designing banners or graphics or marketing or whatever, they can do that too.
Do they design, I mean, for the concept and the colors, you know, can the input be given to Cone, or do they just come up?
Oh, no, and can begin with them. And we have a whole branding, go back to that website, to our website. So, you know, we have an entire brand package, and this is our brand with, you know, with our logo and all of the colors that are in the website and the fonts and everything.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not coming up right now, but, they would leverage off of what we've already done for downtown Superior and basically just, you know, grow that into this a main event type
The
of
main
thing.
event at downtown
Yeah,
Square.
and it would
And then
likely
it
look
With
a lot
banners
like
and
what it
colors and logo and.
Because
But when they
the
come up with a
Right, yeah.
concept,
But
it would be nice to run it by this
Right,
committee.
exactly, because I think, you know, eventually, the idea for us is that we want to continue to have, as a town, parties over there, you know,
The main
the
event.
event over there. And at some point, you know, you guys will.
We're gonna be around for a while. I mean, even eventually, so, you know, we're gonna have we have the Metro District, which is gonna be there in perpetuity forever.
Okay.
We also will have a Public Improvement Corporation, which basically charges a sort of a fee to all the retail businesses in the area and manages them like a mall would or like any other retail center would. And so it's kind of it's almost an HOA for the retail businesses. It's like a business improvement district, sort of. So we'll be a part of that for a long time to come too. And that will be, those two entities, the district and the Public Improvement Corporation will be involved in any kind of public event like this that happens. And so that, yeah.
But
we'll
the
be here.
subsequent, I think the committee, I mean, the town wishes to actually hold the rights to this main event thing, because you're the ones who are going to put the main event on in subsequent years, right?
Right.
Possibly with,
However you want to.
yeah.
However we
So-
want to see the
Structure
partnership,
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
part of it is, I think, we want to have collaboration, but.
Right.
Because ultimately, I think
everybody-
we'd want to have all the retail businesses come out and do their own thing, and have
Right.
the restaurants and bars open their
Mhm.
doors, and, you know,
There's
have
a,
it.
there's a unique situation here with this still
Under
developing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that will happen, take a long time, because it's expected to be a 25-year build-out.
Wow.
Bill will be a grandfather by the time it's done. And
Possibly.
his son's a year old,
At
or
least.
9 months or something.
He'll be in college at least.
I was gonna say, wow.
Let's
yeah,
slow down a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want it quite that soon.
Is there really a 25-year window? Is that what,
I
will
mean,
will the whole thing?
it's so variable, you know, it all depends on the public market and other
Mhm.
developers and how fast they're willing to do it. I'm trying to raise a bunch of money right now to actually build a big piece of this myself.
Mhm.
We're right in the middle of that effort. We're gonna find out whether we can do that or not in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
If we can, I think that accelerates things a lot. If we can't, then, right now, the position that I'm in as it stands today, I'm a land developer, and that's all I am. I can't build any buildings, I can't lease any
Mm.
retail space, can't do any of that.
Wow.
I'd like to be able to, and we're working on kind of restructuring the deal so that I can. But right now, all I can do is sell land. So the land's been on the market for 3 years and no one's bought it yet. And that's the problem that we have right now. You know, I would love for apartments to be under construction right now. I'd love for all the apartments to be, you know, all the buildings and retail and everything to be in 3 years from now. Best case scenario, if it just like ramped up and everybody got super excited and came in and built as much as possible, as fast as possible, I think it's a 5 to 8 year build out.
Mhm.
You know, if that doesn't happen and it's a slower process, then it could be a 25-year build out, certainly.
Let's,
The homes, you know-
let's cheer for your investors.
Yeah, yeah. Right,
And for
the homes-
thriving economies.
The
Yes.
homes right now are doing really well. The home sale prices are doing great. We've got a lot of contracts for new builders coming into that south part of the project where the townhomes and the single family are. So I think we'll actually, assuming everything stays good in
economy?
the master economy, I think we will see those homes build out with around 600 homes, which is half of our total entitlements over the next 5 years or so, which is great. I mean, that drives development everywhere else too. You know, then the trick is just getting the mixed use stuff going in town core on Main Street. So best case 5 years, worst case 20 years or more.
Those kids would all go to Superior Elementary, right?
No.
No,
Monarch.
Every single kid over there goes to Monarch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Kids on Boulder Valley Schools.
I'm on the school board.
Yeah, we had a site for a preschool, but they ended up not wanting it, so.
Oh, really? Because I keep telling
Yeah.
people
Next
that.
to the park.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
What
that-
happened?
They decided they weren't gonna do a
Boulder Valley
a
did?
standalone preschool.
Yeah, that was before I was on the board.
Yeah.
But it
I think
actually-
they decided they were gonna keep the preschool operations in their existing schools and
Yeah.
sort of segregate it. They were at one point talking about bringing all the preschools out of those schools and making a single larger, you know, thing for all of the preschool
But then you
together,
have
which would have
two
been our site.
drops.
Yeah, but I don't think parents would like that.
I mean, it's streamlined if you have one drop off for all your kids, you
Right,
know.
right, yeah.
Yeah, Monarch is perfect. If you have a preschool, you stay there until you're a senior.
And then
Well,
you're-
back to the main event at Downtown Superior, it goes into that it was a good reminder last month when we read kind of the mission statement of CAPS. And it is that community building. It's not just art, but it is community building and all those different ways to make Superior kind of a cool area.
Mhm.
And that ties into really branding this and getting it up and running.
Oh, I was gonna send you our actual branding package, so we can just run through that and get your feedback on it.
But Sandy makes a good point about us owning that main event and not having the advertising company own it.
Right, I don't know the legals, but
Yes,
because we want it
yeah.
as a community building and that kind of stuff.
Or we can sell it to you for a lot of money.
No, that's fine. Hang on a second, let me just find this one thing.
VIP party
And we can
area.
always
The
say
point
it
is-
needs more helping hands,
That
so.
the town doesn't want to have to ask permission.
Right, exactly.
No,
Right,
so
wait.
Main Street is a public street, so the town owns Main Street.
Right, but,
The district actually owns the sidewalks on either side of Main Street.
Oh, so the town-
So you do need
right.
technically permission from the district to have a private event on or have any kind of event on the sidewalks.
But we
The
can do the
district is
streets.
going to cooperate.
Just don't walk on the sidewalk.
But you can walk on the sidewalk, you just can't have an
If we
event
want
on the
to
sidewalk.
collaborate and be community, we can ask to use the sidewalks.
The district is gonna, to me, the more events, the better. Events bring people to the project, people bring businesses to the project, and the businesses make more money, and that's good for everybody, and good for the economics of the project. So I love community events. The more the better. I'd love to have Chili Fest in our park. I'd love to have everything happen at downtown Superior.
Yeah.
Seriously, eventually, once we have the infrastructure to
Chili
support
Fest is
it.
outgrown, so.
Well, just to speak to that point, the Park 2 is going to be grass, and it's going to be large, and it's going to be flat. And yes, sports will be played there, but the intent has always been that community events will be held there as well. So let's not lose sight of that, because it's
Well, it's
sort of
huge,
a-
because it's a rugby-sized field.
Yeah, so 1 1/3 times a football field.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's huge.
I think, if my rugby knowledge is up to par, which it's not, but I think it's close.
Sorry, we're just gonna send this thing so we can look at it together.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about the promoting, how to work with and promote bike and other, alternative ways to get there. And just
Well,
make that be part of them.
Yeah, so
Marketing
it's good
strategy.
Bill's here, because that'll be part of the invite.
Mhm.
Because limiting vehicles and whatnot down there might be a goal,
Well, I just think
It
people
may
get.
not be necessary, but it
People
might still
get
be a goal.
frustrated when it's difficult to navigate something, and the easier we can make it for them to get there, the better, and the more successful it will be.
Right, we use shuttles, like for Chili Fest, shuttle takes you from Richmond 15, right?
Right,
And we
down
could do
it,
the
yeah.
same thing. We could have a shuttle take those of us south of Colton, we just gather at the Richmond 15, and
What's
it takes us up.
On the corner of
Colton
Colton
and
and
McCaslin.
Colton and Caslin, that.
Across from the roundabout. at
Oh,
Colton.
okay.
It's an empty parcel
Okay.
that the town now owns.
Or you could do it from Community Park.
To do from lots of points in town,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be some.
Yeah, but just the
People
idea.
could
Symbol.
park at Community
have-
Park.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll keep running through this while she's bringing
Yeah.
up
Okay,
the
and then
Excel
strategy.
guide.
I gotta move it over to the network.
So event strategy, this is just, again, initial thoughts. For the home builders and partner businesses, everyone who's a part of the project already wants to be part of this event, whether they have a table or a tent or whatever. So if we're talking about, having tables available for those guys to have their information out on. VIP party area could be like a beer garden type of thing. If we got a couple breweries involved and roped off a VIP area where
Yeah,
you can.
what's the definition of VIP? You
It's-
pay to get in?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Well, I think that
I'm
yet
open
to be determined.
Yeah, and maybe it's. I don't really love the idea of VIP either. Maybe it's just a beer garden area where you pay $5 to get in and you get a free beer with that or whatever tokens. I don't know.
Well, a lot of this actually is geared towards your original April grand opening or whatever. So the wording on some of this stuff
Yeah,
would be very
this is all,
different.
this is all focused
if it was
towards
the main event
I
at
agree,
downtown.
this needs to be,
Just some ideas.
this is what Cohen had already, and they kind of tweaked it for this
Yeah.
meeting, but this is too focused on like business development, really,
Right,
and less on
and
community engagement.
promote-
Yeah.
Well, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
No, and I totally, I love it. I want it to be more about the community and less about this.
Yeah, all of this can coexist very
Right,
nicely
right.
within the
Right,
context of
and as
a bigger
they're,
event.
I mean, they do want to promote all of this for
Right.
the homes and
Well,
things
and the
like
fun
that.
thing is, at
Exactly.
this point, hopefully, our roundabout art will be at least disturbing the roundabout,
Mhm.
right, in June.
It'll be, yeah.
Yeah, so we could also have the artist there with a model.
Mhm.
Oh, that would
What
be
it's gonna
cool.
look like, and, you know.
Let's say we wanted to make music a big part of it, or something that
I
would
think that's
really
a great
draw
idea.
people.
Yeah.
Who exactly, I mean, where does that fall in terms of responsibilities? I mean, I just don't know how something like that works, if you wanted to make sure there was plenty of
If
music.
you guess know any good musicians,
Well,
that's
I guess
awesome.
that- I
Otherwise,
mean-
Cohen can
Well,
find
we've got
some,
Greg
I'm
needs
sure.
to do Chili Fest.
Yeah,
No,
how
no.
about,
Wait, who's
No,
doing,
I think I want them at Chili Fest, I'm sorry.
who's doing Chili Fest?
her husband's band?
Well, I don't know
Oh, you have a
yet.
band,
Yeah.
that's,
Well,
oh,
I'm working on it, but
It's Sonic Arcade, they're really
Oh, wow.
good.
I know, but I don't want
Dance
them.
band.
Okay.
They can't do it
Can't have
twice?
them.
No, no.
No!
Take exclusivity on this one. There are a lot of good bands around
But
here.
what
Yeah,
about
there's tons
Face?
of
I mean,
great
Face is starting to become, and they're
Wow.
local, or would,
I think
you
people
know,
are
They probably
phased
won't do
out.
it.
Are they?
They won't do it anymore, really?
They're just getting so big.
I mean, they would be
Super
$4,000 to $5,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
Daryl, wasn't,
It's
music
Sonic
part of
Arcade.
that package that
It's
person was
beautiful.
promoting?
Yes,
Yeah.
so, Kelly does bring in music, so if we wanted to work with and work with her on what her package is, she does and knows different music.
And I think that makes a lot of sense to work with her, that she's local, she's done this before, she knows how it all works.
She knows the
Cohen
vendors.
is not an
Mhm.
event planning group as much as they are a marketing group, so I'd
Yeah.
rather leave it to her to do some of this event planning stuff and bring the music in and do all
So
the
you
stuff she
could
knows
tie
how to
them
do.
together.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Because the
Right.
more
Phone does
energy you
marketing.
have, the more
Right.
people
Okay.
are gonna stay. I mean, if it's just sort of plodding around at tables and, you know.
No, I think music's
I
hugely
think
important.
music and dance.
Dancing,
Yeah.
absolutely.
dancing.
Come on, really
Guys,
good,
we
and
wanna
drinking.
Do the dancing
Yeah.
thing. We could do our line
The
dancing.
line
little
dancing.
thing
Yes!
Right there.
People would love it.
The
Music
other
and
music
dancing.
component is. and
So it
I-
has to sort of be country.
Yeah, or, you know.
I have
not
talked
all
to
country.
Unfortunately.
No, not all country.
So much.
You can line dance to, the
We could do a
band
little
teacher
hip-hop.
at Monarch K8, no, Eldorado K8 talked to me, and his jazz band would love places to perform. So,
Great.
you know, you could have the main stage and you could have a side stage, the kids stage, because I think the more you involve the kids, that means
More
the
you get the
parents have to
parents,
be
you
there.
get, yep.
And it's also that community.
Oh, you're
component.
telling, I thought you meant the band teacher's own.
No.
You mean with the kids?
Within the school, they have a
Wonder if
jazz
Monarch
band.
High-
That'd be-
Well,
that'd be-
so
that'd
does
be
the
really
high
cool.
school.
Or what if they came,
Came early on.
Well, I was
and
gonna
then-
say, like Arlington Heights has this whole thing, well, they do it through the Chris Crindle Market, but you have Monarchs High School Jazz Band, then you have Eldorado K8
Absolutely.
Jazz Band. Then you have the big, we cannot use Sonic Arcade, but
We should do it the other way around. You
They're
start with the
headliners.
least
They're headliners,
talented
right.
and move
Well,
up.
whatever, yeah, that's what I mean, but you start like
No,
11
I
to
think that,
12.
and no matter who
yeah.
we get for an act, for like the headlining band, they're only gonna play for an hour or two.
An
I
hour,
mean, they're
yeah.
not gonna be playing the whole event, so I think you can have other people on stage, you can have a jazz band up first or whatever,
Right.
that makes total sense. You could also have,
You
you know,
could have a
like.
square dance collar.
Well,
Oh, that's
you
an
could also not
idea.
even use the stage, you could do buskers, you could have a little
Oh,
mini
yeah.
thing on the corner where you have, well, probably jazz band's too big for that, but if it's a guy on the saxophone playing
Yeah.
or a guitarist playing in the breaks.
Oh, that's a
with the
really
stage.
cool idea, like
Yeah,
a
street
folk
music.
street
Bourbon
almost.
Street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
exactly. I
traveling,
love the idea
You
of
could have the
of
kids sign up to be
saxophone.
buskers or
I mean,
something.
just to put the energy out there,
Yeah.
I think.
I did play saxophone in
Oh, well,
school,
are you
so-
available?
You know.
Are you available tonight?
Actually, Jane,
You could pass
Jane,
out cards and stuff.
imagine if you actually
A whole
literally
bunch singing?
stage,
Yeah.
aren't they called buskers there?
Buskers.
Yes.
And, you know, the guy who gets into the little
The contortionist.
Pyrex
yeah.
box or whatever it's called, you know,
Think of how
whatever.
many play towns.
And to have
do
him
that.
because that's what I do on Pearl Street Mall. I just
Yeah.
go watch these
That's,
boats.
Yeah, performance
that's sort
art.
of the model, right?
How do you
of
find them
this.
with the woman who does the, you know, farmer's market and block parties? Does she
I'm
know
sure
where to
she
find
knows
them?
She
all that.
probably knows.
Well, the
I'm sure
city
the
of
bus-
Boulder would have a record of them, because you have to have a permit to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So they'd know who they are.
We'd
Bring a
actually
picture to them.
give them a gig.
Yeah.
They might like that, planned work.
Yeah, for sure. I
See,
definitely.
see, on the next page, they did say family-friendly event that the whole community can enjoy. Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, right.
Next, so this is actually a good page. How does it come to life? So this is sort of their ideas on actual programming for it, and we can add to this or whatever. Local food and
Right.
drink, showcase local bests, variety of local food options from restaurants and food trucks, include sports stable food options, so obviously Brunelleschi's will be involved. I don't know if they'll want to do it just out of their restaurant, if they'll want to have a tent or, you know, catering type thing, that's up to them. I'd love to get some local breweries, wineries, alcohol involved. I think we probably have to figure that out from a permit standpoint and fence it off, and that's where you have that sort of VIP area where you gotta
Yeah,
go through some
VIP
kind of a
meaning you're
check.
over 21.
VIP meaning, yeah,
Okay.
you wanna drink.
Well,
You can
depending on
afford to
how we
drink.
do it, I mean, the area just essentially has to have a barricade.
Right.
I mean, you kind of block off the two ends of Main and block off, you could essentially have everyone.
Yeah, and
You
have
could
it be
them
open,
walk
like,
around. Yeah,
maybe that's
I mean,
better.
we have to kind of think logistically about it,
Uh-huh.
but that's how we do
Yeah,
Chili
like-
Fest, because we
Yeah.
want people to walk around
Right.
the whole
With
area.
their beer.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
so, and
I
we
like the
would-
idea of
we
having
do
it
the
open.
permitting,
And I think
so.
it's an entertainment district is what Kelly calls it,
Yeah.
so that you could literally.
Yeah.
so-
Well, the board has to, because that's how they do it in Erie. but
Right.
The board had to like do this whole process on making that an entertainment.
I think that's
district.
what we will be going for
Yeah.
long term, once we get some businesses and that need to do that.
Because the idea
I
is
don't
you could
know.
walk into Brunelleschi's, get your beer, and then walk
Yeah.
out.
That'd be great.
But if, you'd have to
With,
do
with,
different.
yes,
you have
with
to
our
figure
alcohol
that out.
permitting system right now, we would have to have the alcohol out and do it differently,
Right.
but it could still work. But eventually, the entertainment district is really nice in Erie to have,
Yeah.
once we get it.
So that's.
Is
local
that
food
something
and-
you have to apply for, Bill?
The entertainment
Or is
district?
it something the board can just grant?
The entertainment district or what? I have no idea. I haven't looked into it yet. I don't know if it's a
I'd have
state
to ask how
regulatory or
Erie
if
did
it's.
it. It was a big deal.
You might
I
Because
can
it's actually a
ask
big
Erie. I have tons of
selling,
friends
put
that,
that
that,
on your checkout list.
Yeah.
that entertainment district is a big, selling point for retail businesses too and restaurants. A lot of the
Well,
restaurants.
it's
Because
totally.
if you have a
Yeah.
restaurant,
Yeah.
any restaurant that's within that district and you have those parties,
They can all
you
sell
walk
alcohol
in
and
to
do
buy.
They
that.
can
and
take
then-
their
and then
glass
you
of
can
wine
walk.
and they can wander
Yeah.
around.
Well, and all the
There's
restaurants that I've
special
talked to, a lot of them have
That's a
been
good idea.
sold on that idea at other places where it hasn't happened, so they all feel like they've gotten kind of burned on it. Because everyone loves the idea of having this
Yeah.
open strip where you can all drink together, and it's like really casual and nice, and everyone loves it. All the restaurant owners love it. So I think that will be a big thing, and we should work on figuring out
Well,
what
it's
we need to do.
clearly 100%
Yeah.
compatible with
Yeah.
the vision of what this whole downtown Superior
I agree.
was going to be.
Erie's is only on certain night, like,
Right.
and they block it off, like they block the two.
Yeah, it can't be every single night.
Yeah,
and
no.
And it only is in correlation to the block
The
party
events.
event that's happening.
Mhm.
But,
And there's,
but that doesn't mean
special
like,
cups and
Yeah.
all sorts of fun
Yeah,
things.
and we talked at one point about doing, maybe it's even a monthly thing for us, and maybe not everyone is as big as the main event, but every month we block Main Street off for a night on Friday or whatever, and it becomes that entertainment
would be
district
fun.
and restaurants all
Yeah, it
open
really
up.
would be.
Yeah,
They
get
call it
people
the
out on
lesser
street.
event.
The meeting.
and that's over on the lesser street.
The accessory event. yeah.
So one component that I think that all of us would agree we would love to have added is an art component, and we have
Yep.
talked about,
You put it on
doing a community mural or something like that. So that's something that we like to brainstorm
Yep.
about and have.
And we could also have a kids' arts component under the family fun activities.
You
too.
can, I mean, if you do the mural, kids can do the mural component as well. I mean, some of the kid craft stuff, I don't love just giving kids busy work to do
Mhm.
work, like, and something to take home and the parents have to figure out what to do.
What's fun to think of, though, is to, I've still got this underpass concept in my mind, to actually where it is a durable product
Mhm.
that comes from this, and it's actually then placed
somewhere.
somewhere
Mhm.
on display.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was gonna ask how you see that community mural working. Is it tiles that people are
You need
painting
to
and getting
show
fired? Or
that
is
one.
it a wall that
I have
people are
to get it in my
painting?
Facebook, so give me a minute.
Multiple ideas. The
Well, let's
one
look at
that-
the-
the
you
one
wanna
look
that's
at
kind
it
of
first?
cool is an artist actually made a giant piece and then it was cut up and everybody colored and put together
Yes.
the piece.
Oh,
That
wow,
was-
almost like a puzzle.
So is it like?
That was
like
sort of
numbers?
great.
So what-
Yeah,
mosaic,
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
numbers mosaic.
It's sort of.
Yes, but it was great.
different
Yeah.
people who did these had different levels of skill.
Right,
Right.
right.
But yet, when it was all put together.
Looked great, yeah.
And slightly
But
different
was it,
variations
was
of
it
colors
durable,
that
or was
brought
it
on
paper, or was it
Oh, was it?
canvas,
She
or was it?
did like a wood tile type thing.
Wood
Yeah,
tile.
And you
and
can,
then.
and you can seal them, I mean,
Yeah.
you can use the right kind of paint and then you can also seal them with some products.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd wanna do like a ceramic tile or something. Like a wood tile is not gonna last more than 5 years.
But I think that's sort of the idea, like, some of that stuff you don't necessarily want forever anyway, that
You
you
do it
want.
again.
You could move it from location to location.
At one
within the
point,
community.
in the sports stable, there was a huge expanse of drywall
Mhm.
up on the balcony,
Mhm.
whatever it's called. And Luke
Yeah,
was
you could hang it up
interested in
there.
that being a gallery.
Okay.
So let's, it would be substantial, it'd be at least as big as that back wall,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it could be positioned there, and it's temporarily or permanently or
Right.
whatnot, or until he got tired of it.
I
you
think
know?
it sounds great as long as they're cool with it. I'll look at a couple more of these. So visual focus, we had talked about renderings on the fence lines. I think art on the fence lines
Oh,
is
yeah.
also a great idea.
Well, I was gonna say, is there, because they do have that cool split rail fence, is there something that they could do art-wise, or kids could do almost like the Tibetan flags or something that might only be there for like 2 weeks or something, or?
Where, Debbie?
The split rail fence is right in front of sports stable, or some way,
There's a split rail fence in front of sports stable.
Well,
It's
around the parking-
Around the parking
around the
lot. When you
parking
come in Main
lot.
Street, it's on the left side. It's around that, it's
Oh,
around where the plaza's going
the
to be.
temporary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know, but I'm open to ideas.
Yeah, we don't have to get overly specific here.
No, I think this is a great outline
Yeah.
of.
I was talking about potentially having VR, like goggles at a station to show people, like you can like look around what the future town center looks
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
which I think is pretty darn cool.
I always
don't
want
know if
this
we can
for
pull it
the
off or
history
not.
too.
That'd be awesome
So when
too.
you look one way, you can see the new, and then when you look
Right,
the other way, you
right.
can
Yeah,
see.
well, like
the
Denver has
historical.
those places where you can look and see a picture of
Oh,
what
there
it
it
used
is.
to look
Yeah,
like
isn't
there.
that
Oh, that's
great?
cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so cool.
Oh, that
But
is
if you
really
go
cool.
to the,
It really is.
Yeah.
so that's the piece put together, and then there's some photos of the kids, or not, it's not just kids, it's
Where was
everybody.
the original piece
Yeah,
of art?
people doing there's
Oh,
some
there you
tiles.
go.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there.
So
You
you
can
see the
see.
tiles?
Oh, that is so
This is
cool.
in Yankton, South Dakota.
I just think it's beautiful.
So are those tiles or are they little canvases?
I wrote it down. This is a friend of mine.
Whatever they
that
are,
did
it's
this,
cool.
that I can ask.
It does look like little canvases more than.
But it would be
No,
nice if they
I
did
think
these
she
tiles.
did like wood, like flat, like almost like
Right,
underlayment.
like a particle board type. of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So it looks like people are just, copying something freehand?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I could
Get
never do
to-
that.
Well, they get their own.
No, it's like,
Yeah,
it's like
they
a
get
paint
the
by
piece.
number, so the artist did the original.
And cut it out.
But
And
it
then
looked
you
like,
have-
but it looked
Here's
like the
like a
canvas.
sheet that they had as the
Yeah.
original.
Yeah, no, they
Blank.
have to copy,
And
they
then
have
they
to
copy.
copy the sheet onto their canvas,
Right,
so that's why.
it's not
yeah.
already drawn.
No, and that's why it
Well,
all.
Some are really precise
Yeah,
and
you
others
can
are
kind
not.
of see here, like they just have a sheet of paper.
Yeah, see, I
She
could-
commissioned a local artist to draw, I can't remember what piece of Yankton it was, and then they tiled it out, and then they give you a piece of the tile, and she had them numbered, and then
That
you
is so cool.
paint it the way, copied it the best that you can, and that's why it looks
Can we
cool.
see that?
Well, and it's
finished
not,
project
it's not
again?
one for one, and so they're having to creatively fit what they
I
see
love it.
onto
Isn't
that
that
tile.
cool?
I think that
Oh,
is
yeah,
amazing.
and I am sure, can you imagine sort of a,
This is kind of on an underpass too, or almost like
Yeah.
Mhm.
looks like a
I love
bikeway.
that idea at the end of.
an image of, Bill, an image of sort of what that skyline will look like when it's completed. You know,
Yeah.
we've got lots of,
Yeah.
but make it more
Yeah.
surrealistic.
Yeah, right, like this, yeah.
And then have people execute it. I mean, it just really could be precious.
It's super, they did it like this, Music at the Meridian, it's like a whole concert series they do it throughout the summer. So she did it throughout the whole summer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so people could finish their squares at any point in time and turn them in, and then they get added onto the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So that'll bring people back too, to see.
Right.
Oh, yeah, see, look, it's.
Yeah, to see what does it look like
being put
now.
together.
that's cool.
So she probably numbered the back of every single
Yeah.
piece
Yes.
of wood,
Yeah.
and then connected it to the.
That is
stage.
just such a cool idea.
We can get every detail we want, as Katie's friend did.
She is. She's having a baby soon, so we gotta get as much as we can.
Good,
before
she'll be
she's
on
baby
maternity leave and she can come here.
We'll bring her to Colorado.
Yeah, like, yeah, nothing
Oh,
else
we've got
to
this,
do.
yeah.
She'll want to get out of
It
that.
Yeah,
sounds like
she'll want to
the-
leave.
It sounds like the date is good, because there's like a thing on here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I think the data is
scoop
good.
it.
We just finished this page, we talked about private concert already, farmer's market, I think we get together with
Kelly.
Kelly, family fun
And
activities.
let's not lose this concept of flea market too, farmers and fleas.
Oh.
That's what we can call it, farmers and fleas.
But isn't that right after
Well,
the
what do you
community
mean by
garage
flea
sale?
market? You mean like little,
Well,
little
kind of.
unique
It can
month
things?
or
it can be
so.
artisans.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Farmers
So
and
it's not,
fleas.
it's a farmer's market, but it's not just produce, is what you're
No,
saying.
it's
Yeah,
all
it
kinds
can-
of stuff.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
I
it.
think
all
a
kind-
flea market is.
Yeah, I
It's
think
depends
so.
too, is like
That's
the-
old
It's
stuff.
Yeah.
at the time, at this
Yeah.
particular
Like a swap meet.
event,
Yeah.
since it's the first one.
Right.
Possibly, you're not gonna attract many farmers market type of
Right.
produce vendors because they're gonna be otherwise committed
Mhm.
and might be disinclined just to sort of do a one-off here, right? But I can bet that if you look at the older artistic community, et cetera, they will bring their tables of cool
Yeah.
stuff. That's what flea I know is more like a garage sale.
Yeah, that's what I was
But
thinking.
So you have to let them know
We can
early.
make a name.
Like an
for it.
artisan's market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure out some fun name, farmers
Yeah.
and funk. I
Farmers
don't
and
know.
artisans, but not.
Well, and the thing that you want to be careful about too is, and I know that the Boulder Farmers Market, you want to make sure that it's handmade, that they make it themselves,
Oh,
because then
yeah.
you end up getting all the.
They don't bring in a
It's like
bunch of.
Tijuana.
Yeah, you can.
Boxes
and,
from China.
For every opportunity
Yeah.
to
Same
sell
puff
their-
But let's think
If
of-
you want to have that, that's fine, but if you don't, if you want the more upscale, true artisans. then-
Handcrafted.
Well, I think that's where Kelly can come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Artisan,
She
yeah, we
does
can come
this
up with
and
a,
knows how it
again, and
works.
that's part of this whole brand of this that will probably be reused
Yeah.
event after event.
And then,
And maybe-
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, maybe when we have the artist registry in place, we can contact our local superior artists first to see if they have.
You
any.
can actually put a call out to them in the Sentinel
Yeah.
right now.
Or you could
And
do it on a list.
maybe that's
Superior.
who's featured at this
Oh, and
first
they'll
one,
come.
is the
The superior artists
is the
versus
superior
the-
people.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, because it's a good beginning of the summer festivals and summer street fairs. I bet you'd get a lot of artists and craftspeople.
No,
Yeah,
it's-
so that's
it's
a good
great.
point that we do want to get this date really nailed down and
Did you
then
know?
start doing
And
some
start putting it
call-outs
out.
to vendors,
On
et cetera.
Saturday?
And we all can use our creative minds. I'll think of a cool name, I'm sure,
Oh, yeah.
between now and,
So
I do it at
If
two.
it's
Sorry,
anything like the
untapped
main
out
event,
names
we're in
today.
good
Yeah, we're
shape.
So do the vendors actually then have to sign up and do some sort of permit thing to, be placed at a thing like this?
Well, because it's ours, we don't necessarily have to do permitting per se, I don't think, unless, except for the alcohol component.
But I mean, if somebody
Yeah, they-
says they want to come.
Yeah, so it's done a number of ways. They can either pay a flat fee to be here, or they
Okay.
can pay a percentage of their intake and things like that, and those are details that
Okay,
need to be
I
worked
just didn't
out
know.
And you can take,
could easily do.
take applications, like
That's
they
what I
do
meant.
for Boulder's Farmers Market, and then you,
Choose who you want to come.
as this progresses and becomes like the cool event, right? Where you actually select, somebody selects
Who's
Yeah.
in it?
from
Okay.
applications.
I just didn't know how that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a couple of other ideas, one of which being incentives, like a scavenger hunt with prizes that we would obviously sponsor. Part of that is the sinister, underhanded way to get people to go visit the home models and talk to the salespeople. But I like the idea of giveaways because everyone likes a giveaway, and maybe one of those is scavenger hunt. Maybe there's just a raffle too that people
Like
can
give away a house.
put a business card in or whatever. Yeah, free, right on the corner.
Oh, wow.
Scavenger hunts are always fun. It keeps
Yeah.
the kids busy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then you do stuff at the sports table that'd be super fun, and you have them go up to the golf thing. And,
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
So I like the scavenger hunt idea. I'm not as into the trivia. Like I don't know what kind of downtown superior trivia there would be. Like
Pieces of coal.
it seems kind of.
Yeah.
But I like the scavenger hunt, and then family fun activities. This is kind of it's so like kids competitions like sack races and that kind of stuff. This reminds me of my childhood, like 4th of July events where we had bounce house kids sack races and stuff. Bounce house sounds
Like
fine.
fancy
Face painting is really just a question of whether if there's a face painter who wants to come be a vendor or not. And then the competitions, you have to have an MC and do that whole thing. I don't know. I just don't know if we can
Well,
do that or
it's
not.
another time to see what kind of audience you're getting. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Probably
when
have to
part
get the
2 is
field
in.
in, like what part
Yeah,
when
once-
the
yeah,
field is
yeah.
in, I
Eventually,
think that would be.
I'd
Yeah,
love it,
it's
yeah.
great
so
for the
fun.
future.
Relay races, good old fashioned
bring
relay
their
races.
hula
Yeah.
hoops.
You probably have to wear a
Oh,
helmet
They
now.
made last
You
year.
probably do, and sign a release.
Get the sign a release.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so Kitty said to bring their hula hoops that they made at.
There you go.
and have
Oh,
the
that is fun.
hula hoop
Yeah.
rolling.
Those have bit the dust, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Really?
What, hula hoops in general, or?
No, we made them.
They'll go out in the spring cleaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll appear at the thrift stores.
And then Cohen had some thoughts on how to extend awareness, Snapchat filters, event hashtags, all the social media stuff that's happening these days. We'll obviously pay attention to with Cohen would manage that. Branded giveaways, we'll have some swag to give away that's branded with Downtown Superior, chapstick and stuff. And then, the mini prizes, that's kind of what we were talking about with some kind of raffle or
Yeah.
scavenger hunt.
What is a
type
pop
thing.
socket?
It goes on the back of your phone. I love.
I actually didn't know, so.
I
Oh,
love
the
the.
kind of thing
I
you hang
love the
from.
bike.
I got one in the
Yes,
mail and
you-
threw it
so-
out.
yeah,
because
yeah,
I didn't even know
yeah,
what
got
this
it.
You didn't know what it was?
What does it do? What is it?
Oh, so you put
So
it on the
you
back
can-
of your
and you can
phone, so
hold your
it's a
phone.
stand.
Oh, it's like a kickstand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
and you can
Or you
have
can
a-
actually hold your,
Right, fingers
Right,
on
like
it.
this.
So you don't drop it.
Yeah, and they also have a piece you can put in your car, so you can mount it in your, so you can put it in your car and use it.
So it's a
that
whole
way.
system,
Yeah.
integrated system. You got it.
Cool thing.
The next page is logistics. We talked about some timing. All of our builders prefer June, which is great because we're talking about June.
Oh, that's funny.
Chamber recommended working with the town. They were thinking 5 to 9 p.m. on a Saturday evening would be the best timing, just because it attracts most people, but that's open to discussion.
Well, I think we talked yesterday, I think a 5 to 9, like, during the week.
Oh, during the week is better?
Yeah, I just.
What's the 9th? What day is the 9th?
Oh, it is a Saturday.
That's a
I mean,
Saturday.
It has to be in the daytime, doesn't it, for a farmer's, or for, no?
Yeah, wouldn't we want
no,
to start
most,
it earlier?
most farmers markets now, I mean, Erie's is at night, Louisville's is at
Really?
night.
Huh.
I mean, it's,
The nice thing about farmers markets at night is you can go and you can get your dinner and you can
Yeah.
do some shopping.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
interesting.
the draw for
Yeah,
me. to
Broomfields
the-
is at night.
yeah,
Okay.
most of them are at night now.
I didn't know that.
Erie's block
Maybe it
parties
starts a little
are-
early. We start
Yeah.
at 3 to
3,
9. Because 5 to 9 is only 4 hours. That's pretty quick. Of
Kinda
How,
like-
how late is Main Street? Because it will start getting dark at 8:30. Is that?
It's pretty light. I mean,
Okay.
you can drive down it tonight once you leave here.
Yes.
The lights are all on.
Mhm.
We could
Pretty light out.
we could
Okay.
try if we need to. I'd like to set up some like party festoon lights somewhere and make it feel a little more
Like a little
exciting.
One of the
beer garden or
crews-
kind of
Yes.
Crews over
Yeah.
there donate just light.
Yeah, well, they won't donate one, but we can certainly get a temporary.
I'm sure I could find one over there.
Yeah, we
Pull
can
it
certainly
around.
get a temporary light with a generator if we need it. But if we do something on block 11, we could put some poles up and string some lights and make it like cute and
Yeah.
more exciting.
Yeah, I'm
So what
afraid-
do we think of timing?
I'm afraid if
I
you
think
started
5
it
to-
at 5, you totally miss all the people that are just gonna have a meal at home.
Yeah.
Because that's their dinner hour, and do they wanna get out in the car and go, On the other hand, all the kids are gonna be
I'm
out of
always
school in
looking
the
to
summer, and
eat
the
those.
parents are gonna be wanting to get them out of the house in the afternoon
So wait, you think 5 is too late to catch people for
to
dinner?
start, yeah.
Well, I think when we were talking 5 to 9 when we had talked yesterday, we were thinking during the week sometime,
Oh, okay.
you know, like, so I think it's Saturday, and then, what's your name?
Yeah, I think this has to be on a Saturday or a Sunday, but I think
I
Saturday
think
feels
Saturday
perfect.
feels
Yeah,
more
yeah,
like
yeah.
a party night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, a Friday night maybe, or a Saturday night. But,
right.
And
We
Saturday
could
is.
even start it at 4.
Yeah,
I
because
think a 6-hour event is a long event.
Yeah.
Coming from a person who does events,
I
it's a
think
long
it is
event.
long.
So 4 would be a time people still be out on their bikes or, you
Yeah.
know.
4 to 9, do you think
I
is
think-
right?
Yeah, does that sound
Yeah.
too long?
Because it gives you some time too to do like the jazz band and like
Yeah.
the early stuff that
Yeah.
people aren't all going to be there for,
Yeah.
but you know it gives you some time to do that stuff.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, so let's say
Plus, we want
4 to
people
9
to eat dinner
Saturday.
there.
Exactly.
Oh, and Saturday's better too because movie nights are usually
Friday.
Friday
Oh,
nights.
you know
and
what?
They had movie night like
Hold on, let me tell you. I can tell you when movie night is.
Saturday.
No, I can't. Yes, I can.
I can see the movies from my house.
Can you?
Uh-huh.
Can you read those?
Mm-mm.
I think
You can hear the sound.
Oh, yeah.
You can't, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, if you
imagine it
want to be
probably
doing something else,
causes
you can't have your windows open.
Yeah.
the first movie night will be June 8th.
Yeah, see, so it's perfect. So we
And you could
advertised our
handle-
block
hand
parties
out,
at
yeah.
movie night.
At the movie night, yeah.
Yeah.
We had the
No,
flyers.
we did.
We can just
Yeah.
ask.
We had little
HOA.
nightsticks and flyers that we handed out. And
Nice.
yeah, we do need to pacify the HOA, but we were able to do it. And I imagine they would let us do it again.
Okay, so the rest of that page is we've already talked about, I think.
Are you on logistics or where?
Now I'm on. Yeah, well, they all say logistics. Unfortunately, page 18. I'm on.
The thing about logistics that you didn't address is the weather. It says we'll need an indoor contingency plan, but will we just cancel this if it's raining?
I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
Will you go into sports stable?
the sports table has a lot of room, and they're willing to help us with whatever we need
On that turf
on the turf.
area, et cetera?
You know, I think that's a conversation for the bigger group and with sports table in the room of,
Right.
if it's raining, can we bring all the tents inside?
Yeah.
I don't know
Probably
the
not
answer.
full.
Yeah, I don't see it as big enough if it's inside.
Rain or shine.
I mean, they've got a
But I mean,
lacrosse-sized
we
field
have
in
to,
there.
yeah.
It's pretty
Do
big.
you think it's big enough? Is it
It's probably big
commensurate
enough,
with?
Yeah.
Well, you're not
Better
moving a
than
food
me.
truck
Well,
inside.
go back to that. Go back to your plan. Go back to the-
Yeah, you could still have those on when it's raining.
Yeah, they do.
So you could work that
So-
out,
Tent you're
Bill?
in it.
So we're talking about sort of, and I don't even, we'll see how many tents we get. I don't know how much we're gonna have to fill. It might just be one block, but this may be behind it or one block. I don't know. But the sports table has basically that whole area as a field, which is, you know,
That's
almost as
pretty
big as
big.
this. It's probably an acre and a half of indoor
Pretty
space.
big.
I think just let Bill make that call. If you
Yeah, I
feel
mean,
you
you
can
can-
take it
Well,
inside,
it's really
you
for
work
Luke.
it
It's-
out with
it's-
Luke
yeah,
and
it's the
whatever.
sports table makes that call, but
Yeah, yeah.
we should, it's something good to talk about.
Yeah, bad weather should just be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Or so much wind, that's the other
Yeah.
option.
That's all fine. So page 18, we started talking about partners. You know, the sports table wants to be a big part of it. You guys, obviously, and the town. I think the Chamber of Commerce is an important addition to this list.
I
And,
bet medical
local
office
businesses.
building too, won't they be
Yeah.
open?
Yeah, the home builders.
So if you hurt yourself.
The medical office, yeah, the urgent care will be
You
open.
get sick.
Are they
That'd
now
be-
calling themselves Superior Medical?
Center, yeah.
Okay.
Superior Medical Center. So we'll add all those to the list, and then I think, I'm gonna leave it in Cohen's court a little bit, but I want them to coordinate, you know, some meetings with
And then
all of the
Impact.
stakeholders. Yeah, Impact is sort of just town, or part of the sports table, I think, in my mind.
They just kind of roll into one.
Because it's really Impact, golf, batting cages, Brunelleschi's, Floyd's now, like all those businesses are a part of this.
But the
Sticks,
ones
coffee.
inside, I always think of sports stable, but then the
Right.
ones that
Yeah,
own their
outs-
own
yeah, right,
property.
right, Impact, yeah.
Does Impact own?
Uh,
Or- And then
I think they
certainly
lead.
medical
so
center
I don't
does.
actually remember
Yeah.
if they own their own or not. Everyone's a lessee and all their businesses lease from the sports table mostly. So we talked about date and time, we talked about location, we need to nail down location once we figure out what we're doing, but it sounds like everyone's sort of on the same page with an area for tents and an area for stage dancing type of thing. Identify any existing community events that make sense to leverage and host at downtown Superior. That's kind of what we're doing, is bringing this new event as part of the opening. Ultimately, like I said, we'd love to host other town events. I know we did that race earlier in the year. I'd love to keep doing that and other things. And then we talked about the events. We'll need to get, I think so this is part of Cone and Kelly and Katie, security, permits, insurance, all that stuff. We need to figure out, obviously, but we will.
And would you be interested in committing to a June and an August one, or just a June event?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I mean, the other thing is you can look and see how the August one,
How the
the
June one
works,
goes, yeah.
And,
I wouldn't necessarily commit all of our, I don't know if the home builders are gonna wanna come out again and do
No,
the whole
but
thing again,
downtown
certainly
Superior and-
hosting an event that you guys run, sure,
Okay.
yeah.
So, Daryl, you guys will want to come in front of the board as soon as possible with, and I just want to grow this idea, and then, of course, get funding. Because you most likely don't want it to come out of the 5,000, so it will probably have to be separately funded. So last meeting in February is already taken up. So sometime in March, you could just actually come up during public comment or ask to be on the agenda for presentation.
Okay.
And then you could just give a brief synopsis of this.
Okay.
Because if you want it June 9th, and there are only 2 meetings in March, you've got to really stitch this up.
There's only one in March.
Well,
Oh, there's only one in March, so you,
better
do you want to
catch up.
have Katie get you on for presentations in March?
I'll try, there's something else in March too.
Well,
Then
we
just
can-
come during
I
public
mean,
comment.
Yep, I
discover
would say, we
it.
might just have to come
Yeah.
during public comment,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's something that we couldn't come for a reason, but,
Okay.
yeah.
So then I'm on next steps 22, date finalization, we're good, June 9th. Budget breakout and detailed tactics, overview and plan, this is what we need to have another meeting, I think, to talk about, and get Kelly involved and, start talking about the actual vendors that are coming and which ones pay us versus which ones we pay and.
Okay.
all
And that would be
Yeah.
good to know some of that information before we go to the board
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and maybe it's even like a next week type of thing. We get some subset of this group in the room with Cone, with the sports table, and with
Is
Kelly.
Cone here?
They're in
Denver.
Denver, yeah.
Oh,
And they'll be available, they're transitioning account reps for
just make
us right now.
sure everything
Does-
coordinated with Katie.
Set meeting.
And if you want to just have me as the point person and I can wrangle the
Sure.
caps, any caps folks.
Okay. And then,
Daryl, the caps wrangler.
I wrangle caps.
and then their third number was identify assignment of the task, tactics and logistics checklist with Kona overseeing managing, which is just the same thing over again, but we need to get a meeting set up to actually schedule what we're doing here. I think with Kelly involved, I think she'll be doing a big piece of that because she does this.
Right, exactly, and she, she would, has a proposal already in terms of a smaller scope of this, so I think it would be easy to incorporate her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at the branding real fast and just get your thoughts on that, and then I don't have anything else to talk about. So this is the brand package for the Downtown Superior branding. It's the colors, the fonts, kind of the concepts. So just quickly roll through this and see how it kind of relates to the main event. I think the main event should be tied to this branding and the same kind of feel, because this is going to be throughout Downtown Superior for all future businesses and big signage and all that.
I like that font, the one, like, I can kind of see the main event being in that.
Yeah, I do,
person
I really
font.
like that
Mhm.
font, yeah.
Yeah.
This is just all, you can kind of skip this stuff, this is all why it's so great.
After all, it's
It's
superior.
superior. It's simply put, it doesn't get any better than this.
I mean, that was a name.
Oh, yeah, go back. I wanna
I like
read
that
that.
S.
Mm-hmm.
There's no S in Maine,
No.
Or event.
No. But I like the.
Good
It's
Emma.
nice.
Move to
Brand
the-
new board.
Is this zoomed in? Can you zoom out?
It's 75 versus 9.
Yeah,
Oh, there.
there's more on the right. Go back up to the mood board. Yeah, okay. Brand keywords. Just keep going down. There's a couple pages at the end that have everything kind of together. Logo standards. So we have, go back one.
Wait, what's the secondary element?
So secondary, this is like a fun little logo that can be like a hidden thing in places, you know, that's not really the main, this is the main logo, this is the main logo without the image, and then this is like the fun little like secret society.
Why
Is
did
that
you
like
put a
the-
prairie dog there?
Isn't
I
that
like
the
prairie.
canary?
I
You could have a
think a prairie
prairie
dog
dog,
man.
you could have a
Oh,
version of that with a prairie dog in it,
Yeah.
the main
Well,
event.
did
Main
you-
event.
Did you see that the
Agree.
private street in front of the 10 duplexes, 20 units is Canary Lane? In Discovery?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's cute.
yeah.
Is it canary?
I told him
Lane?
that one. I gave him that one. They're all mining terms.
Yeah, I know, but
Oh,
Canary has
Canary in the
a
mud?
mixed use. You could be the dead canary.
That has a whole other side to it,
You would
the dark
like
side.
that.
I love a prairie dog though somewhere in there. I think it would be
See,
so
that's what the
cute.
secret one should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
the
I like
secret-
prairie dog
Well, on
for,
the scavenger hunt, you can have the
Yeah.
kids find different
Prairie dogs.
prairie dogs.
Yeah.
So Bill, while we have you
What is it
here,
called?
can,
There's the-
Part one. It's called a
Oh, so yeah, so this is grand typography.
What does the
This is
M look
here.
like?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a.
oh, that's good.
Like a
Um,
Leonard.
Yeah. You probably want the lowercase.
The lower, I don't like
Mhm.
it all uppercase.
Yeah, you probably
No,
want
it's hard to
the
read
names.
uppercase, all uppercase.
They'll
I'm
come
a
up with
font
something.
person.
They'll come up with something that looks great.
And it doesn't have to be. It's just
Has he
like
seen the
that.
Katie font?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe you
hand
need to
letter.
be showing him the Katie
Did you
font.
make your own font?
She's
Yeah, I
got a
do.
whole font.
I do
Like-
have my own
Like
font.
It's
an actual
great.
font file? You made an actual font?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you're awesome. That's so cool.
I didn't even know you could
Does
do
anybody
that.
have their
I
caps
hand
hat so
letter.
he can see the?
Oh, is that the
no.
Katie font? The caps
Oh, well, I
hat?
have, here's Katie's font.
Yeah. We have caps
I can
cats,
do a- I
remember?
can-
This is
I
her
don't-
lettering.
I
right
hand
here.
letter.
All of that's
Design
her
thing.
lettering.
Oh, yeah.
So do you
I love
market it? You should
Do I
license it.
hand, yes,
Sell
well,
it.
yeah, I have my own little side hand lettering business.
Moonlighting lettering.
Do, yeah.
That's really
So then, and then these are our colors. Our colors are very, you know,
Earth tone.
muted pastel with some earth tone, kind of, tie into the, really just both the kind of current design trends and the idea of, the coal mining and kind of historic stuff, and nothing too loud or bright or.
Or you can't put the canary, go back to where you can't put the logos. I like that one.
This is
See,
always
look,
my
you
favorite.
can't.
Don't
Yeah.
mess the logo
Don't
up.
put the canary on the, or whatever it is.
Oh, thank you, here.
They stretched it.
Stretched
They
it,
Stretch,
yeah. Oh,
stretch,
they-
yeah,
there's
yeah,
no-
that's a horizontal stretch, this is a vertical stretch. This has the logo,
Oh, up
the
a-
text on top of the thing instead of
It's your
the
shift button.
upside around. This is weird colors, this has the wrong font.
What's that for?
This has.
It's where you
It's a
can't
nod.
use it,
That's
so
the
this
logo.
is where.
Don't do these things.
Oh, examples of what you
Yeah,
can't.
I
do.
love
Got it.
that.
Got it.
I need that for my house. Don't
So
put the
Bill, while
kitchen
we
like
have
that.
you here, would
Yeah.
you give us your vision for art in downtown Superior? I mean, just how, the 120 artists or whatever have provided a huge assortment of creative inspiration, really, for, stuff that might be in the playgrounds, that's actually artistic, but may take the form of a piece of playground equipment, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. And, so, I mean, the downtown Superior really could be rich with creative impulse and all that kind of stuff. If we make it a priority,
Yeah.
right? So tell us, you've
It's a
now
huge
heard my
priority.
pitch. Yeah.
No,
What is your?
I
You're
think
being
that-
taped.
Yeah, I think public art is great, and I think it adds to the fabric of the community and it makes it, you know, from the beginning, we've said our design intent is to make the place feel like an authentic downtown community center, not like a Disneyland Caruso-esque shopping mall. And so I think public art is a big piece of that, but it has to be truly public art by different artists. That's not like a corporate. It shouldn't all look the same. You know, it should be one artist does the bench over here, one artist does the sculpture in the park, and one artist does the other thing over here. So I'm very much on board with it. I like public art. I think we just need, you know, bring ideas, and obviously the easiest place to put it is in the parks and open spaces. We'll have some space in the plaza that I'd love to put a piece of public art in the plaza somehow. I don't know where or how it gets incorporated, but it's for our
How
landscape
about
architect to figure
funding?
out.
How does that get split?
Yeah, so we don't, sometimes there is actually a funding requirement for the project to pay for a certain amount of public art. There's like a 1% requirement sometimes. We don't have that here, so there's nothing I can go to my investors.
And
Denver
1
has that.
million, remember that, the million?
No.
Okay.
So anyway,
We'll discuss that in another setting.
If there is in a written thing, I'm fine doing it, obviously. When there's something like that I can go to my investors and say, I have to spend this much money on art, it's easier, because investors don't like public art as much as I do, believe it or not.
They don't understand the bottom line of it. Because
Yeah.
it could really make the city unique.
No,
with the
I agree, and
ability
I see the impact of it. It gets easier for me to fund public art if we're building some of these buildings. So like I talked about, if we do raise this money to do that first phase of construction, that's, you know, a $100 million project. It's easier to find a couple $100,000 in there to pay for art than it is right now when I'm just building streets and it's not, you know, it's not that kind of dollars. So, you know, I'm happy to look at it and consider it on a case-by-case basis. Bring me ideas, or bring me artists, or stuff that you
Right.
want. Let's put a
Well,
wish list together.
well, here's an idea. So Lafayette does a thing where they have pedestals around town, and they have a contest every year, and artists, sculptors submit art, and they pick pieces to go in those places. So there's really no cost to you except to put the pedestals out.
I love it.
And then sometimes you know, the town of Lafayette ends up acquiring a piece and they move it to a permanent location. But that could be something that you did, is find a few, you know, 5 or 6 permanent pedestal locations, and then we could sort of jury the artists and find pieces that could go in there
That
for you.
sounds, yeah, that
So,
sounds great.
double or triple, 5 or 6. This is a big piece of land, and so when you're selling the project to builders and whatnot, to have in your mind a master plan
Mhm.
of where you would have such a pedestal, and the net result would be to have them peppered throughout.
Well, and I
the
envision it
community.
happening sooner rather than later. I
Right.
can see sculpture being there long before buildings are there.
Right, but if you and your designers and whatever look at the overall project and say, oh, one would be cool here, we could still like put one in front of the sports stable,
Right.
and we could put one over here, and we could, whatever, then when you're selling a particular piece of land and say, we have to have a pedestal here,
Yeah, and
and the benefit to you of having
most-
it there
Most likely,
is-
those are gonna go on
Yeah.
what would otherwise be sort of a right-of-way or the corner of a park or things like that. And we're gonna start building Village Green pretty soon. We should look for a place in there. I mean, there's a playground, a big turf field, and then a gazebo at the south end that has a big flat, you know, area for barbecues and tables and stuff. There could certainly be an integrated pedestal. I mean, I'm imagining a kind of a 6-foot diameter round concrete.
Yeah, and you can go drive in Lafayette and see what they,
Yeah.
you know.
But the pedestal itself should be interesting, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, it can just be concrete. It doesn't
Right.
have to be,
But it should be.
but it could be much more interesting, so if nothing was
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and
You were
your
like-
intent is rotating.
The
Art.
idea is absolutely, and the nice thing about it is sculptors get a lot of coverage. There is a small stipend that they get for putting it there, but then that piece is for sale essentially. So
Right.
people walk by and they think, oh, that's really great.
And you can
And
do
at the
lots
end
of
the
things
year-
with it. For example, we were talking about like the cows in Chicago or the hearts in San Fran or whatever.
The
We
geese
could
in Long
supply a prairie
Prairie
dog.
dogs.
And have it.
Fiberglass prairie dog.
And
And let's say we have
Painted.
18
Actually-
pedestals then 18 different entities get to paint the prairie dog, and then you have the prairie dog parade.
Oh
You
my
could do
God, I
so
wanna do that
much
so
with that.
bad.
Yeah. So,
I've actually looked and there is no, I mean, because there are a lot of sort of pre-made type of, the prairie dog hardly exists at all as a pre-made interesting, but I bet you could get an artist to fabricate
Oh,
it.
you
and
could
could
easily.
use a bunch
Absolutely.
of-
There's a wide area.
but the
Yeah.
point is, you know,
Different
how fun
size.
is that?
So fun.
So sometimes
love
it's an
it.
eclectic mix, and then other times it's
Oh,
the
how
prairie dog
cute.
parade.
Oh my
Wait, they
God.
already exist.
We need
Well,
those
this is
pigs.
from where I grew up. They
Really?
did
Look at
prairie
the one that
dogs.
looks like corn.
You
I
are so
know.
perfect for this job.
It's
I grew up in the
unbelievable.
Midwest.
I like the
Where
one
you-
who looks
where
like
you-
a.
where
One
you-
was in Sioux City, Iowa.
Oh my
This is the
God.
banker.
The
I remember
bellhop.
a banker.
Oh, they are so
corn.
cute. Look at the, oh, people will love it.
Really good.
Which one
Yeah.
was it?
Oh, I love it.
Those
That
are
is
dogs.
so,
And this was,
How big are these?
it's terrific
Well,
art.
I mean,
well, I was little. I don't, I mean.
Huge.
They're
45 feet tall.
30,
Is-
probably 30 years ago. Or no, maybe like,
Oh, so do these still exist then, do you know?
you know, I don't.
Yeah, but I mean,
know.
look at it.
can check it
It's a pretty
out.
big
Oh,
prairie
yes,
dog.
as tall as a parking meter at
Oh,
least.
yeah.
Oh,
this is-
people
like,
would
this is
love
part of
this.
Sioux City.
Well,
What?
we
Oh, here's
just
the
need to
banker.
find whoever supplied the
Yeah.
bases for this.
I love
The
that
little
one.
banker man. He sat outside saying.
Oh my God.
my God, this is
Um,
hilarious.
This has got so much potential in terms of people would just go crazy with
Yeah.
it.
It was fun. I remember.
These are things from when you were a kid,
Yeah.
Katie? Oh my gosh.
I just remember
Prairie dogs
like
are so
these
cute.
corn, and I think is this one. This one might be in Iowa City.
It's
Oh, I
an
love
ear
it.
of
Corn.
corn.
Yeah.
Corn dog.
Anyways, it was fun. I can't remember.
Oh my
Coin
God.
dog.
What is
Coin
this
dog.
one?
Coin dog.
Coin dog, that's so
Oh,
good.
Coin
It was,
dog.
it was fun. They were all
Looks like
around
it's all
town.
pennies,
I think
huh?
there was even like a map you could go and they were,
Yeah,
have such
and
a
that's
corn
why
dog.
that's why people want them in front of their
Businesses,
Yeah.
yes.
And then you can
So-
raffle them off too.
So
and make
people are
money.
gonna want a pedestal in front of their business because.
They could be all these different concepts.
So it's called downtown.
Well, these don't look like you're on a pedestal.
They're
we would
just
do it a little
big.
Those
It's like
aren't,
the
yeah.
bottom is part of the,
Yeah, those
Yeah,
are just
yeah.
on the
But
sidewalk.
this is a
Yeah.
great jumping off point from, think of the different.
Yeah, there was
Still do
some one
this
with
or
kids
not?
next to it, you could see.
Well, so
the
what
size.
we'll do is, 'cause
Oh, this
as
one's
part of that
amazing.
signage,
2002,
dog work.
16 years ago, and it's still clever.
It is, you're so
I
right.
It's
feel
still
like they did it
clever.
every year.
It is, isn't
it
it?
really holds up.
But this
The
is
coin
what
dog
they
really
did,
holds up.
It really, it does. God, it's got so much, the coin dog. Oh.
And look at the
Fun.
smiles this brought. I mean,
know.
It
I
was,
love
it was
the
a fun,
teeth.
it made like quite the news for my, and Sioux City's big, I grew up in a little tiny town
Yeah.
outside Sioux City, but it made like a big deal.
Yeah.
These
I
prairie
can
dogs
see how it would.
everywhere.
well, in the Chicago, cows have
Oh,
become
yeah.
Worldwide.
icons,
Mm.
yeah. I mean,
Worldwide.
it's
in
just,
Knoxville,
yeah,
they have bears.
right.
Do they?
And then
This
there's
guy's
the
in front of
sheep
them.
in Europe, you know, that all,
Move
around.
yeah,
I
we
still
can
like
move
that
these
idea.
Somebody's
around.
and then they
See,
have
you
some
could
pink
have a
and
whole
some
herd or
Oh.
whatever the appropriate term is for prairie dogs.
So what is the term
What
for
is the
prairie
term
dogs?
for
Katie,
prairie
don't you know?
dogs?
Come on.
Hey, Siri.
Colony.
A herd.
Colony.
I like a herd.
Aggregate
Oh,
term
there's a
for prairie
herd.
dogs.
The
A
funny
colony,
thing is,
I
I
think
don't
you're
remember
right.
prairie dogs being like
But they
prominent
pop
like
up.
they are out here. I don't know why they picked prairie dogs.
Okay, wow.
All right, so
Anyways, there you
that
go.
was good.
Well, so what we'll
Still
do
prairie dog
as the
schools,
first
yeah.
part of that, what we'll do, I'm working on, so as part of this sign thing with, I've got the new sign consultant working on the first sign. They're also working on a master sign program that spells out the signage for the whole area. As part of that, I think they should be looking at art locations, because I'll have a map where all the signs go.
Mhm.
With that, it should be also art with 10 art locations. And then we can be
Bring that
building
to our
those
next meeting.
into our park designs. We'll probably just leave a 10 by 10 area, 6 by 6 area, whatever, where a piece of art could go. And then it'll be up to you guys to help, figure out what's going there.
Right.
and
Well,
how it
even
works.
the idea of the Element Hotel, there were great
Yeah.
ideas that emerged in this whole
We
thing.
could-
And we could share those ideas.
Right away, I
And
mean, we could put those
we
projections
could put them
out
forth,
there.
and
Yeah.
they might
It might be a
find
some-
something they like.
Yep.
So you said bring, in addition to the pedestals, you said bring our ideas to you. So
Yep.
should we start compiling kind of our favorites? So just to have a file for you guys to look through to maybe
And
be
keep, you know, maybe-
inspiration
it
for you
should
guys.
be, I think it should be, for both of us, it should be a continually
Yeah.
updated thing. And you guys
So,
always adding
yeah.
to it, saying,
Unders-
here's, you know, ideas for the Town of Superior art program
We
in
should-
general, but we want to go somewhere, we don't know where exactly they go
Or
yet.
not site-specific.
Yeah, not necessarily, or they can be,
But
if you
part-
have a site that you really like and you think something perfect goes there, then this is the perfect thing for this
Right.
site. And
So this group is going to, by year's end, have a master
Coteries.
arts and culture and arts program.
Right.
At least as sort of a
We're gonna have
rough
a
draft
start,
of
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yes.
And this is.
Don't
cer-
overpromise.
This,
Yeah.
yeah, this is certainly a part of that, but I would suggest, Daryl, when you go in from the board for the other thing, that you actually talk about this pedestal program, because the board sort of officially needs to add things to your work plan and understand where you're,
Oh,
what
I'm
you're
adding
working
it to
on and
his
whatever.
work plan now.
Yeah. So, I think it totally fits in with this master art program, but it just,
And to the
always
extent
keep
we
them
can,
informed.
to the extent we
Yeah.
can do stuff, like for benches, the bench is a butterfly art thing instead of just a bench, I think those are great.
Yeah, we need to start.
I think we need a prairie
We have our
dog program.
favorites.
I think
I
it's
love the
just.
prairie dog program.
I think it could be evolved into a.
I mean, how,
They're just kind of.
Well, and it would be.
That's how
They're-
big they
I
are.
think they're about 5 feet.
It would be
maybe a
cool
little
if you had
taller
big
than
ones
that.
and little ones, so
That's
that
right.
you had professional artists do the big ones,
Big
and then you
ones.
could have, you know, people, and they move around, the little ones move around, but what did you call it? What's the group
Oh,
called?
it's too
Well,
much
it's, I
fun.
don't know if that's it, actually. A coterie is like a family.
The herd could move around town.
The whole-
Coterie?
But I
Yeah.
think we could commission really good
The-
artists
the
to do
family
these,
groups are
big
coteries.
ones.
Well, and like, this
But then
one
they
was done
have
by,
wards
there's,
and
Briarcliff
colonies.
University.
Wards.
Yeah.
And
Wards
they're
and
like-
colonies.
Yeah.
Warrens, Warrens, no, Warrens are for
Wards.
rabbits.
No, no.
Yeah, actually, we could
They-
maybe
the
commission
coteries-
CU art department to
Yeah.
do that.
There's, really, you
Yeah,
could,
lots
there's.
of ideas.
Yeah, we can talk about that
Different
offline for
sizes,
sure.
okay.
I want to utilize Bill's time,
Look
and
at this
we,
one with the
we
clouds
do
on it.
have
Oh
a
my
little bit
God.
of business as well, so.
These are great.
All right.
So
Very
huge.
exciting.
Just
Come-
looking at pictures of prairie
you
dogs.
can come
next to
every
me.
month.
Yeah, we gotta move on here.
Yeah.
So, you can come every month, Bill.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about crosswalk painting eventually, so.
We
Okay.
could paint
Are we
prairie
ready?
dogs on the
No, I don't know,
crosswalks.
do you have anything more that you wanted to,
That's all I've got, I think we need to, I'll
share
circle
with
back
us?
with Cone and give them the date and have them start putting together a meeting, another meeting for, you know, read to you and Katie and the chamber and the sports table, certainly, and then I don't know if anyone else should be involved in that first one, but Alan Kelly, to start figuring out exactly who is doing what and how that's all gonna work. As far as who's talking, you know, I think Kelly should be doing a lot of it, but they'll schedule that meeting for hopefully sometime next week or the week after, and we can get really rolling with kind of logistics of who's doing everything. But other than that, you know, unless you guys have more ideas on other events or people that you want to invite, we're all ears, and I want it to be as much, I want to be more of a town community event than it is about, you know, us, so.
Great.
Anything else for me?
Anybody have any questions, thoughts? Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, oh my
Really
gosh, that was
enjoyed it.
great,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
And I look forward to seeing the art.
Yeah, you can always watch it, you know, online, but you can be here
Well, I
in
will,
person and meet the
yeah.
artist if you
I
want.
will certainly at least watch it online if I'm not here.
You
Okay.
can have a baby prairie dog as a pet,
I would.
according to Wikipedia.
Oh, you can?
Yep.
Okay.
That sounds awesome. I
That
have
would be
two
just
dogs.
like having a guinea pig or
They
something.
carry
Oh, boy.
bubonic plague.
Yeah, that's right.
I wasn't suggesting that you raid a prairie dog colony and kidnap a baby.
Breed them in captivity.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, is this yours?
Yes.
You could have a companion
Thank you.
prairie dog.
Yeah, it can be an emotional
Emotional
support.
support prairie dog.
Little vest on and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That we all did.
I love the emotional support.
Prairie dog.
Oh my God.
Hey, that was me.
And she expected it to go.
On an airplane?
I sat in business class across from a catty corner. A man had a golden doodle on his lap.
Oh, where's, one of those,
And one, they're supposed to be on the floor in front of you, or
Mhm.
their own separate seat. This has gotten a little absurd.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
it was probably under 2.
Oh, did it have a seat? Did it have to have a?
Well, because under 2, you could have it as a
Oh,
lap.
it's so,
Is it
yes.
under
It
2?
really has
That's
become
right.
It is
absurd.
way out of
I mean,
hand.
first you have people with allergies.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on quickly, we can
Okay,
talk
yeah,
about
sorry
our
about
support
that.
animals later. So the working groups for, from the work plan, it got approved without any problem, and Melinda made a dramatic entrance and saved the day.
Yay, Melinda.
It was
Sashay.
It was early. They expedited time, so I was getting down here, and as I was walking in, Daryl was standing there,
Just
so I
finish
decided
it.
to walk right up to the podium.
You did?
It was,
we just, yeah.
She made a
We
great
made
run.
everybody.
yeah.
So anyway, the work plan was passed, so we're good to go with that. And then from that, working groups, Melinda and I talked about breaking out into 4 working groups, sort of the subcommittee pieces. So there's crosswalk painting, master plan planning, block party component, and then the artist registry. So those are the 4 areas of working groups that we thought. And Melinda and I will sort of, people can choose to be in a smaller working group, and Melinda and I will divide up and conquer each of those groups so that there's one of us at all of those.
When you say mass, oh, I'm
Daryl,
sorry.
would you mind repeating that? It was crosswalk
Crosswalk
painting group?
painting, master plan planning, block party, and the artist registry. Yeah.
And the master plan meaning our overall goals or an overall, what would you say that involves?
Well, the master plan, so similar to ProStack, they have a 5-year master plan for the parks, recs, open space and trails. And so I think that it would be really good. We have so many ideas that we're constantly tossing and throwing around to congeal those in one place and come up with a working master plan. Now, typically, the master plans have been contract people have come in and done those, but I think that we can sort of give it this year, work on it, and give it our best in terms of a draft, and then determine if we need professional guidance going forward.
The most important element is, how do you create a long-term commitment to this?
Right.
How did the town commit to parks and open space and trails, et cetera? That was a long-term commitment, both attitudinally and financially, right? So if you guys want to be sort of just the pioneers of this long-term thing that in 30 years is really going to be sensational, you know, you've got to put that vision there, you've got to figure out how it's going to be funded.
Well, right,
You've got-
exactly, like
gotta-
we missed opportunities with downtown Superior
Yeah.
because they should be,
There is $1 million commitment, and it's on my,
right, but even more so,
but
it's the 1% and
it's,
other areas
yes,
of funding.
it
for
was
arts.
hugely, yeah.
Anyway,
agree.
that's,
But there is still potential, just as you saw tonight.
oh, absolutely, and I think
With
the
the
more that we can
pedestals.
have the conversations and all sit at
Right.
the table, I think the
Right,
better
because
off we
it's
are.
symbiotic, and it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
they want it to be a cool place as much as we want
Sure.
it to be a cool place. But anyway, the long-term financing, the long-term vision to get the town, via its elected officials, to commit to this being a priority for the town. That's what is achieved in a master plan.
Okay.
So if anybody,
So Daryl, how do you want, what about just seeing the roundabout art through successful execution? Is that just the whole group?
well,
or-
you know, it started out as a smaller subset, but everybody was really interested, and I think everybody stayed active in it,
So-
so I think that, I feel like people all
But that
wanna
will still
stay.
be on
It would
every
be-
agenda and
Yeah, absolutely, it
until
would
it's
be,
Till it's done.
successfully done.
yes, yeah.
And is there a budget for maintenance then for this piece?
It will be put in every
It
year.
will have to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Will
They
have
just
to be
had a-
funded.
CPR just had a big thing about that, big story about that in Denver, public art and maintaining
Yeah.
it. And did Did you hear that? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think it's gonna be a criteria in the selection,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
It will have to be.
Because some
Given the
things may
web.
be more fragile and some
Mhm.
things may be more durable, and so.
Yeah.
How is this going to evolve on Monday night, or in terms of these artists? Has that been laid out yet? I mean.
Katie's been working on it. Do you want to give us an update?
Yeah, if that's
So what I
appropriate.
think, since our time is so limited,
Yeah.
why don't I send out,
Go.
or Melinda and I will send out an email, and people can think about their commitments, and we're missing a couple of members anyway, so then people can express
You might
an
wanna put
interest.
some dates or some times with these,
Okay,
because like for me until probably June, I don't have a lot of time.
okay.
But, you know, I mean, I'd love to work on the crosswalk painting, I just don't know when you're gonna do that.
Right, and everybody can essentially, like, when we actually go out and paint, everybody can do it, and we don't have, again, I mean, everybody got interested in the roundabout art, and so everybody was involved, and if that's how our committee wants to work, that's great. I just don't want people to get too burnt out, or feel like Claire often is like, I can't come because I've got these commitments, but she's got valuable things to add, so I
Mhm.
think that, you know, we want to be mindful of people's time and don't want you to feel like you are not committed.
But the core organizational stuff would be the subgroup.
Yeah,
And whether or not
right.
everybody wants to participate, right?
Right, exactly. So those people could be figuring out the details of the crosswalk piece. And then, so we set the date for the actual painting, and everybody is welcome to, you know, grab a paintbrush.
Okay.
And, yeah, lots of stuff behind the scenes, like the artist registry, that's something that someone can do on their private time. Or the crosswalk, you can be,
Right.
someone
There needs
could
to be
be
some
gathering
brainstorming.
examples.
So how do
Right.
we define that? We just express interest to you guys in the areas that we feel we could be the most
Yep.
of help to you? And do you can let us just do that, come forth with our ideas, or do you want to like make up little subset committees? Or are we just saying, let it evolve? Or I guess what I'm asking is, like, does someone need to be in charge of an artist registry? I mean, it would seem like someone would need to guide that, or
Well, I think Melinda and I want to,
I thought
get
somebody
your.
volunteered for that already.
I
thought
did.
you did, yeah.
I did, and Claire
Okay.
did too.
okay. But I do,
But you need to-
but I think what we want to do this year is do working groups as a
Okay.
group, rather than
Then one.
than a subset committee, so that I think it'll just work better if it's a group, and then
Okay.
it's either the full group or a smaller group, that kind of.
Yeah, that's what my question was.
Okay. So now, do you want to answer the look-ahead question? You ready for that?
Sure.
Okay.
So all three artists are ready. I've only seen, Tim Upham sent me kind of his final stuff. But, basically what will happen is they're all gonna be here about 7:15. We are going to put them in separate rooms. I mean, I explained that this is a public meeting now. I mean, anyone can watch this meeting. But there were a couple artists that, expressed that they didn't want the other artists watching, and I said, well, it's public, I mean, you can come in and
Yeah.
watch whatever you want. So we at least said, so we'll kind of keep them one in each room. I've got all the rooms worked out. And then Shane, Recite Group will go first. We just kind of did alphabetical order. So Recite Group will go from about 7:40 to 8:10, you know, guidelines, just time guidelines. Then Dow will go from about 8:15 to 8:45, and then Tim will be last from about 8:50 to 9:20. You know, totally depending on what the time frame looks like in front of what's going on. I don't think there's actually a lot.
So
on
what
that.
does Tim's
That's
final
the
thing
last
look
thing
like?
on the agenda.
Are they all staying in town?
I don't know where they're staying.
Okay, because,
Tim might not be.
how do you intend to keep it moving? And, because a lot of times, things can get derailed with a lot of questions from the board and all that, and all that kind of stuff. Are you gonna keep the board on a
Well-
tight thing to,
Keep
to,
reined in.
to do 30, 30, 30, and then have the questions all asked of the artist at the end, or how?
So the artists are doing a 15-minute
Yeah.
presentation with 15 minutes of questions, essentially.
Okay.
So if their presentation is a little bit shorter, a little bit longer, that's
Yeah.
why it's a guideline. that
Yeah.
they.
But have you enforced that it can't exceed 15 on the presentation?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
so that way the board, cause and you can let me know your feelings on this, I don't wanna cut the board off,
Right.
right?
Well, and it's always a problem when you have multiple presentations, because we can get long-winded on the first one and we're running out of time, and it's starting to be 10:30, and on the last person's shortchanged.
Or you don't have enough questions on the first one,
Because-
and you have tons of questions
Yeah.
because you've seen a
But,
couple.
but then you want to come back and ask the first one some more questions.
And I think we'll keep them here, like,
Okay.
I don't want them to leave.
Right.
I'll make sure
So
that
what,
they kinda stay
you might
here.
keep it sort of tight with that 15 and 15, 20-ish, and then move on and say you'll have opportunity to come back
Okay.
to
Who
these-
says that? I mean, who makes that happen?
Well,
Did-
um,
Katie, I mean, is,
I think Katie or whoever's going to be the key presenter
Yeah, I
Daryl
can-
can say,
Oh.
can say
I
that
guess
at the
Daryl,
outside. Are you
right?
going to make your
I'm
presentation?
just saying a few.
She does have a few remarks,
Okay.
and then the other thing that we're hoping to ask you is if you wouldn't mind sending this out to the board. This was sort of some guidelines about how to look at art. And I thought it was gonna get
Me?
included in the packet, but it didn't,
I think
so-
you need to do, I think the
Wow.
committee,
But that's
or
not what
you
you
have
asked.
staff.
Can you ask that?
Sure.
Okay,
Okay.
that was the.
The thing is to
Yeah.
have this, okay, good.
And you can pass it, Melinda's seen it, but I don't know that anyone else has. And then I created
Yeah.
just sort of, for
Just
the
make sure it ends with me
presentations.
so I can, yeah.
I made up I thought we might have their concepts to put here, but in the case that we don't, I have 2 of their existing arts, and then there's a comment section and a note section. And whatever feedback you guys have on this, so everybody on the committee and every board member will get this, one sheet for each of the artists to keep track of what's going on, what questions they might have, that kind of thing.
Will they be
So-
working with that during the presentation?
Yeah, everybody will have these to.
And who will see them? Will they go to you then, and when they're done, or what?
No, it's only personal, it has
Personal.
nothing to, because we're not, at the end of the evening, we're not voting on which one, we're doing that in a future meeting, we're having a meeting and making a recommendation
Okay,
to
and
the
that,
board.
okay, so whoever is the MC,
Cause I think somehow we
Should-
need to introduce them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, yeah,
And if you wanna introduce, then I don't mind being, okay,
and facilitating them around,
Yeah.
okay.
but that MC needs to say, okay, it will be a 15-minute presentation. We've allocated 15 minutes of initial questions.
Mhm.
Then we'll go to the next one, and then we can come back around, and they'll be out here, and we can call them back in for additional questions,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. That gives everybody the sort of an equal benefit of freshness
Absolutely,
of
yeah.
the board.
Yeah.
These pieces of paper, who's handing them out when?
we can hand them out right before the presentation.
Before each person's presentation?
Yes,
Sure, yeah,
So
so
you
that
won't
you-
have the other,
Yeah.
persons
Yeah,
in
no,
front
that's
of you at
actually
the
good.
time.
So at introduction, and then this gets handed out, so
So
everybody can.
recite goes up, it's handed
Yeah,
out.
They get the.
And then the next one goes up, because like with PowerPoints, we all read the whole PowerPoint, and we're
Right.
not paying attention.
Right,
and
and this
whatever.
is really just for you guys to keep track of questions and comments and
Right.
any notes that you might have.
Right,
Just-
that's great.
And then for future reference, so then when we make our recommendation, you can be like, oh, right, these are the.
Okay.
And we thought that this was a good idea because, so one of the bullet points in how to evaluate art, which, and I'm hoping that
I'd like
the
to see
board
this
gets
too.
this, they have a chance to study it, is compare materials, right? So we took pictures of the materials from which the artists are drawing so that they'd be able to compare
So,
the model to
Daryl,
this.
have those to hand out separately as well, but I'll get it out before as well.
Okay, so have copies of this
Yeah,
as well to
have
go.
hard copies.
Absolutely, and if you can hand it ahead of time, because
Right.
there's a lot of stuff in here that we
Yeah.
really kind of want.
Okay, so
people to-
what is still unclear to me and needs to be made clear to the board is how's this selection gonna happen? Because these guys may wanna vote.
Yeah, they need to
Monday,
know, it's very
right.
nebulous as
And
to.
so at the outset, one of the objectives is say, tonight you will not vote. Tonight you will see. We want to give you the time now to think about it, to go back out and drive it.
Take
With these
notes,
things in your
yes.
mind and come back. When is the vote going to be?
Well, I asked Patrick if we were coming back on March 12th, and he said there's just too much on that meeting. So that's just.
No,
that
and then we're
info.
not having one at the end of March, so we're
he
losing
says not
this.
until the first meeting in April.
It's when they'll vote?
No, we need to do it in March.
Well,
I thought we were
I'm
going to
I'm
make a
just the
recommendation.
messenger.
You were gonna say
I'm
you
just the
may.
messenger.
I know,
So-
I know, but
Yeah, where's the part about our recommendation?
Right, I thought we were gonna make a recommendation.
Yeah, and
Right,
I
and-
thought it was either going to be an up or down vote then. Is that not how it works?
They make an up or down vote?
No,
Well, they-
yeah, that we say,
we
okay,
make a recommendation.
we recommend this, and they vote, we accept it or we don't. Is that how it works?
No, we make a
Oh.
recommendation, they're voting on all
Yes.
three. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
that's sort of the way they always are. But
okay.
our
As a safe
recommendation
document,
will
so
be
So in the
1 of the 3. And then at the end of the day, they may or may not take our recommendation.
Okay.
when do we present that to them?
That's
Soon?
what we're trying to figure
Okay,
out.
so after that evening, I would suggest that we make our recommendation. I mean, once we let too much time pass, human nature is they'll forget what they've seen. And they'll forget we don't want it to be an impulsive moment, but they need to look and reflect on the art and have our recommendations. I don't think there's much that they're gonna think about over after 2 weeks. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's enough time to really, I don't see how they can, you either really like something or you don't, I think. You know, and it's gonna be hard to pull this out into a very long process.
I agree that time's of the essence, so you guys need to meet shortly thereafter, after
Right.
the presentation on Monday. March 12th is possibly the best time, but the mayor's not going to be there on March 12th, because I think it's the date I've been asked
Might
to
be.
host, to do the meeting.
That might be why too.
And then we're not having a meeting during spring break, end of March. So I frankly cannot really see this decision being made without the mayor there.
No.
I think everybody's going to want to be there. So that's going to be interesting. And I'll ask, I'll call Matt tomorrow. Clint gone, and Chris has had a funky schedule too.
Okay. I don't think he'll be there on Monday either.
And I don't think that we want the board to vote without our recommendation.
Right.
So
Oh,
we
yeah.
should have a meeting as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Well, no, I understand
After
that, but
Monday.
I'm just saying, we can't, I don't think that we can have the presentations and have a vote that same night. I really
Well, I
don't.
think it's too late for that, because we're having a presentation on Monday, so.
They can't vote Monday night.
No, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, because we won't have a chance to really, none of us will have seen the final pieces and been able to truly make a recommendation.
Right.
Should we have a meeting even though it's last minute, shortly after Monday night?
Yes,
Yeah, that's what
absolutely.
we're
During
saying.
next week,
Yeah.
where
Yes.
we pull our notes together and then make a written recommendation to them, I think.
Right.
And with a rationale of
Yeah,
why.
exactly,
And then we
meeting
just have
those
to figure out
points.
when.
Meanwhile, I think you guys should plan on that meeting you just discussed. Meanwhile, tomorrow, I'll talk to Matt about sending this out as well. And now I've written on it, that's why I need to. Can I just-
I can send that to you.
Yeah. Send it to
I'll
you.
send it right now.
Yeah, what do I need to buy at the
Um,
store?
And,
Could we have copies of that too? I think
Oh,
it
yeah,
might inform
absolutely.
us
Yeah, I wanna
into
get
our
copies of
process.
it.
But I'll ask, I'll work through all these details with Matt, because the fact is, if Clint's not going to be there on March 12th, it's probably going to end up being the first meeting in April when we vote. Yeah, even though
Is there
that's
any
not
way
good.
he can vote, like, via Skype or something?
We don't have the
You don't have that
mechanism
ability to do that.
for doing it. However, what we can do
That Google thing.
is potentially call a special meetings just to vote
Yeah.
on this particular thing. So, we could call a meeting later the week of March 12th or the next Monday, March 19th.
Don't the artists have to know when they will, the artist will be, there is a date that the artists know that they'll be
Well, all of those dates have been pushed
So we-
already anyway, because we initially, this was gonna all happen in December.
Yeah.
So,
Would be fair to go ahead and let them know it'll be 3 weeks before we have a final decision.
absolutely, and give them some
Yeah, so
timelines
they
of
have
that.
some idea of when they
But-
can expect to hear from us.
Yeah, and we'll hopefully know more based on
Right.
Sandy's conversation.
Right, okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Matt tomorrow.
Okay.
So the format for Monday is that each of these guys come in and you move it along, is that right? So that
Mhm.
one finishes and then with the, and do you expect there to be a public presence? Do you think there will be people just
I have
Interested?
no idea.
On
I mean, I
Monday?
guess
Yeah.
it's, who knows?
Possible.
Okay.
You never know.
All
It
right.
sounds like Daryl's gonna be introducing you first. Are you okay with your
Yeah,
presentation?
absolutely, it's just a very short introduction, and then I guess we go right from that
We
to
go
the
right
artist.
into each artist.
Yeah, okay,
So-
that's fine.
So does anybody think that we should have anything on each individual artist sheets besides questions and notes, or are there any, I mean, because that's all we're really doing is keeping track of.
I found it interesting that Kevin and Ryan asked for the names so he could look up their whole portfolio.
That's
See,
great.
that's what we want.
That's
Yeah, no,
really
that's
what we
good.
want.
Yeah,
That's good. And I
they
think
could
that's
come in
great.
with already some
Yeah, so,
idea of what they do.
exactly, so, and that's why I think these are really important.
I do
And actually, I think these are better than, I initially thought their concept plans of what they're presenting that night would be good, but I like the idea of,
Because here's some of their.
so you can see some of their depth if you haven't, they haven't done
Because
the
we'll end
research.
up with pictures of their concept plans, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Will
it's
they
not like
leave
they're
that
gonna-
with the people? I mean, will they have hard copy that they, once their presentation is done, will the board then have physical hands-on of what they presented?
They all plan to make copies of
Okay.
like presentations,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Okay,
And I think they'll do it electronically, so we'll
Yeah.
have the ability to.
right, yeah,
Because
that's,
the board gets all their, you get your packets electronically, you don't get paper forms anymore.
okay,
at
so it's all electronic.
Yeah.
And-
But paper copies are made for people who need them. I mean.
Oh, yeah,
some-
yeah, yeah, no, I
some
just was saying
residents
that
wanna
you have
come
the
and pick
ability
it.
to look at everything electronically, that most people do that nowadays.
Mhm.
So if we're gonna meet after this meeting on Monday night, are we gonna do it this next week, or are we going to do it the week after?
Can people look at their calendars and see if there's anything next week?
Thursday is out for me next week.
Okay. And Karen is not here, but she is in Egypt, and she said if I send her presentation, she will look at stuff and be able to give her own.
But you'll be here on Monday, right? So if we have a meeting.
I probably will get here at 7:40, because I'm coming from another meeting in
Okay,
Boulder.
but you'll be here for the meeting afterwards, so you will have had, you might have come to a decision by then. Anyway,
So you
right.
want to meet you want our CAPS meeting to meet after that meeting?
I
Directly
think,
after?
isn't that what we talked about, just like a brief meeting after the presentations on Monday night?
I mean, it could be late, it's fine with me if people are okay with that.
It could be like, it'll be 10:30 or so, right?
Yeah, it's kind of late.
But I
All
mean,
right.
we do need to get on it shortly after. I don't know,
Honestly,
we
I'm
can-
one of those people, I like to digest stuff,
Well,
so
yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I've got to be careful though.
later in the week would be better, I mean,
Yeah.
not, minus Thursday.
We could do, Tuesday or Wednesday is okay for me.
And I can't do Wednesday.
So Tuesday.
Or no way I could do Tuesday, that's school board.
Oh.
So could we do, is there any possibility of, okay, then that's, looks to me like it's Friday? Is
I
that-
can't do Friday either.
Can't do Friday.
That's more school board.
Well, maybe when could you do?
Well, I was just saying next week.
Yeah.
But Terry can't do it, I could do it Thursday or Thursday.
Thursday or Thursday.
Yeah, 'cause- yeah, that's the only day I can do it next week, so.
Well, are you planning to be here on Monday?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna get here till 7:40.
That's fine, but I was thinking, maybe you could make your decision
and just share it with us on a
Unless we
Thursday
did
night.
it.
Right, that was my point, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you don't, I don't think you necessarily have to
Well,
be
right,
at
because
the
Kieran's
meeting
not
if
going
you are at
to
the.
either.
Right.
I mean, some of the things that I do want folks to consider, not just in their presentations, but also, you know, the whole package, all of the stuff that we've been looking at the whole time about them. Their, you know, their ability to, I just lost that train of thought.
Right.
To execute.
Yeah,
and keep
exactly.
on top of
Track
it.
record.
Yeah, it's really to bring it,
References.
bring in the finished product.
community, you know, is it someone who, right, do we feel
And
it's
our
important
thoughts
for them
on,
to
you know,
represent?
basically start to finish what we think the experience will be and how smooth we might think it would be, that kind of thing.
And see, that's an element, a critical element, it's not here at all, right, on this thing, how to look at sculpture for different levels of analysis. Well, yours is a 5th level, which is track record and experience of other communities.
Right, and that's in
et
the, you
cetera,
know,
et cetera.
in the cover memo, some of that's there. All of our process is there and how we
Okay.
came to
Obviously,
winnow
I'm not
those-
prepared for Monday's meeting yet.
those folks out.
The cover memo that the board will have, is that?
Yeah,
what the
it's
discussion-
actually right, isn't that
Okay.
it right there? That's a copy of,
There's a lot of
what
what you
Katie put
said, you
together.
divided up your notes.
Right.
Cover a memo and then that, and then I put elements in it in
Why
the
is your name
criteria.
not here?
My only concern is that we meet, that we get something collectively together sooner. I just worry that it gets spread out. It's like a diagnosis, we kind of need to give it sooner rather than later. And I guess what I'm hearing is it's going to take us a good week, at least, to get a recommendation to them.
That's fine.
Is
A
that
week's
okay?
Certainly.
Yeah.
expected,
Okay.
Because they're not
yeah.
gonna vote on it
Right.
right away anyway,
Doesn't have to be
right?
minutes
Oh,
or
yeah, no,
hours.
we
Yeah.
don't, yeah, I think we want to have a very comprehensive reason behind the artist that we choose when we make a recommendation.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, here, I see, this answer.
I was taking notes. Did I miss, did we decide not to go with next Thursday? And you just kind of down in your opinion, did we decide not to do that?
We haven't just-
Actually, if we meet Thursday, I have to be somewhere else at 8. If we meet early, then I could be here.
So Thursday would work for Kitty, and
Yeah.
you could do it early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
is
you
that
do
fine?
Thursday? No.
Just to, it's okay, just to, but that's okay. I can be here for part of it, for the early parts.
What time can people, like, could we meet on the early side?
I could meet anytime.
Yeah,
What about you,
I can
Terry?
meet on the
Can we meet at
earlier
6?
side.
So 6, is that too late?
Yeah, I can stay for a half an hour at 6.
Could we do it earlier? Or you couldn't be here?
Well, why don't we
It just
start
depends on
early?
whether or
and-
not I can catch the bus.
So
That's the
what if we
problem.
start early and then?
Where are you? Maybe somebody
and
can bring you. I'm
we'll-
at the Capitol
Downtown.
in Denver.
And then roll Terry in when she gets here.
Okay.
Does that work for people?
Four,
what
you
time?
would like to do
So what if
four?
we did 5? What if we do
5?
5?
Meeting here.
Can we meet here, or we could just meet at somebody's house?
Y'all don't mind my kids coming. My husband's gone next week for work, so I'm.
We love children.
Five-
You're saying 5?
5.
5 next Thursday?
I can let you in, but I have no.
We could, wait, we can meet at my house at Thursday. I mean, is that what we're just looking for?
That's
as a
only a
meeting
block
place?
away.
Yeah, I mean, but
I don't
you
mind.
can
I
bring
mean, I
your
can always-
kids.
I
Do you
can always
need to
bring 'em.
Do you need to bring?
They're good.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's fine. I'm not gonna attend.
Yeah, and we've met offline
Right.
before, so.
Right. You know, I don't wanna know, I don't,
So shall we meet at Thursday at 5 PM? I'm happy to have everybody come over. We've been over there before, 212 6th Avenue. And you need to bring your kids? It's fine.
Well, and I don't have to be there.
yeah,
Well,
Katie doesn't.
oh,
Yeah, you don't
okay.
have to, yeah, then we can.
Okay,
Well,
Yeah, that's great.
okay, that's
we
good
just have
then.
to
You're
figure out-
welcome.
We'll just have to write it all down so we can then write the recommendation.
So that's, what is that? Is
And I
that,
think
what
it
is
has
that date,
to-
March
there's gotta be
2nd?
publicly
March 1st,
disclosed.
Thursday.
And tell me the address
It's
again.
actually better if we do it.
212 6th.
Pull it together and then we'll
Avenue.
review to
Right.
figure
Yeah.
out the format.
Just
We have to have
It's
it
back that way.
Yeah, no, I remember,
Yeah.
I just would not have remembered
Um,
exactly.
We did
Well, I
for
would've
all
driven
of
down the
our
street going.
other, not all of our other.
Let me,
but-
let
I
me
think that's
ask
the right
that
one.
when you make a when you make a recommendation,
I don't know, talk that over with.
Find out,
Let me
yeah.
ask Patrick. I'll
Okay.
call him in the morning.
All the questions that need to be answered.
What do we have to do in our recommendation?
Whether it
Might
needs to be a
have to be
public
publicly.
meeting, publicly
Oh.
recorded, or if we
I'll
can
ask.
actually meet up.
Doesn't have
Which,
to,
let me-
it doesn't have to be publicly recorded, it's gotta be publicly announced.
Gotcha.
Do we submit a paper to, I mean, do you
As I
present
understand.
a
Check all
recommendation
that
to,
out.
We can
from
write-
us?
Yes, we
I mean,
submit
yeah,
a
we'll have to,
formal
we'll have to write a
recommendation.
formal,
Yeah.
because that's kind of like, because usually you do recommendations during your meetings and then it's recorded in the notes.
Right, right.
Um,
How, notice
How do we do that?
meeting. It needs to be noticed,
yes.
which means a notice needs to be put out that there will be such a meeting.
And in the email, while these guys are thinking out loud, the email that goes out, I think I will just ask you guys if you're planning on attending the Leadership Summit. I think almost everybody expressed an interest
Yeah,
in
I-
whether.
What day was that again?
It is April 6th and 7th, and whether you want to do one day or both days.
Where is it?
It's in Denver.
If I'm gonna go too, so depending on how many we have, I can just drive the town vehicle.
Okay, that'd be awesome. If everybody goes, it's like
Yeah, I guess I could,
$1,350,
Yeah, I could go.
which isn't bad.
So far, I don't have
Not
anything.
really.
It's okay.
So is that something that we just pay our portion of, or is that covered by the city?
Well, we have the $5,000 discretionary fund, and I think that's a perfect use of that money.
I think I'd like to go too,
Yeah.
and mine can come out of the trustee
Okay,
budget.
and mine won't come out of it either, so.
And I was just
The other thing is
counting.
if we each could contribute something toward the cost of it.
No, let's
I
just.
think that we have that
that's
money
what that
for it. We're
money's for.
volunteers. I think that it's perfectly
Right.
legitimate to use that
Yeah,
money.
don't
to
worry about the
fund,
money unless somebody
um,
says it's an issue.
No, and I talked to Patrick, as many people as can go as we want to.
What time does it start?
I think it's all day.
I think they're both all day.
Like
What is
9
it
to-
called?
I'll send you, so when I send
Okay.
out the email, I will send you again the link to the summit. It's actually called the Creative Placemaking Leadership Summit.
And do we need to sign up personally, or will that just be?
I'll
No,
sign you all up.
Katie will sign us
Okay.
up.
That way I can just pay for it.
And then crosswalk painting project we can do offline, when we have more time.
So just for my own information here, the board will know after Monday night that they're just looking at the stuff. That's the end of it. We will then present them with a recommendation. Following that, they will vote at a time that has not been set up yet?
Right.
Okay. And the artist will know that within a month.
And we'll have some more information on when we can give the artists a guideline of when they would know by.
Okay.
What are we?
We're the south, which one are we?
What are the choices?
Did I miss it?
They're, yes.
It would have to be
I thought.
southwest, that's the closest thing to.
No, but, oh, it doesn't. That's the original.
Oh, the early bird rate.
No, tomorrow. Can sign them
Okay.
Oh,
So if we
do
all know
you-
by tomorrow, we could get the early bird rate, which is 150.
2 days, oh wait, I think that's the.
That's a
two-day
two-day pass, yeah, versus $200.
Where is it at DU?
Looks like it.
University of Denver, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah. How about the people not here?
I will find out. Karen said she wanted to go. I'm pretty sure Debbie wants to go, and I'll find out from Claire. So is everybody here wanting to?
Mhm.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I guess when I first saw that email, I was thinking like 1 or 2 people could go. So.
Oh, yeah, University of Denver.
We were just looking for a start time.
What's the rail line, or the whatever it says down there?
Oh, it's if you wanna ride the bus
From the airport.
the
I'm pretty sure
directions I'm
Debbie is an
traveling.
in too.
Where we're traveling.
There's RTD rail. Under public
Yeah,
transportation.
like if we wanted to ride the bus down. I mean, I can
That we can
definitely
figure
take
out.
a town.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can figure that out
It's
later.
big town vehicles.
Okay, it's 8:15.
Yes,
Yep.
everybody.
Go home.
Okay, if anybody has any questions about Monday night, feel free to email me and,
And we should be here by
yeah.
7:15.
And the only other thing is we don't have a date yet for our CAPS dinner with the town board, do we?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
I have mentioned it, so I'll mention it.
Okay, I know that this, oh, and
I
so
think
for the
last year was in
crosswalk
May.
things, look at this. I think that even if we don't do, so whatever crosswalks
Look,
are
that
in,
is cute.
Oh, that is so cute.
it's a pretty basic template that we could get.
And you don't
that-
have to destroy what's already there.
No, but that could go in and around other places around
And it could
town.
go in something other than white.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, I was thinking something other than white, but I thought, I love the little eyeballs.
Uh-huh.
And,
They'll be looking at that and a car will hit them.
it says, look.
It told me to look at it. This should be exciting
Great
on Monday
meeting
night.
tonight.
Thank you,
Wow.
everyone.
Yeah, I'm really
I
looking
really-
forward to it.
Is Norman gonna present for Recite?
No, Shane.
Oh, have you met her?
No, I've talked to her
Uh-huh.
briefly.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you, that's where you found out the shovels, she found out the shovels weren't in the.
Yeah. I don't think that their communication skills are, you know.
Uh-huh. Oh, excuse me.
It's all right.
Is this the agenda for tonight?
Yes. Oh, did you not get one? Sorry.
No, but that's all right. I mean, I had one from, but I didn't get it printed out.
Oh, I like your belt.
Oh, thank you.
It's really fun.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
So you gonna join the committee after you're done with?
You're locked in now.
But you'll allow me as the time
Absolutely.
I don't know, we only have 2 minutes for that.
And you have to sign up in advance. And if it's on an agenda item, you can. So, I started, I've always been so bad at this. They go ahead and really very simple.
Symbols up there.
Sorry, true now.
I like the table. Sorry, did I shove you into a chair?
Oh, the grand opening is a week from Saturday. So I'm working on Tuesday.
Can I return something there that I ordered online?
We'll be a lot closer to returning to North Glen. You wanna schlep all the way down to Colorado Hills?
They use, they have all,
I was just saying, I was trying to pull it the other way. That's not gonna work very well.
Good, I could tell I was up too late last night, got up too early this morning.
yeah.
5:15 is way too early.
Alright, so if you tip it up on its edge now. How's your ankle doing, by the way?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. Don't do that, they'll make you do it.
I couldn't believe that legislature's response to the shooting is to have more guns with bigger magazines.
Oh, that's Tim Neville for
Oh,
you.
I know.
That's our senator.
Oh, I know, it's just, it's truly funny.
The only saving grace for that is that it will die when it gets to the House.
Yeah.
So it won't pass.
Oh, no, it won't, absolutely.
But-
won't.
Such a frightening.
I just, you know, it last, because it happened last week on Wednesday, and on Thursday, the whole board and the negotiating team spent the day together. And it didn't hit me till I walked up to the, you know, to the boardroom and saw the flag at half-staff, you know, I thought, this could have been our kids. And I'm responsible for our kids. And it's, but this time it kind of feels different with kids actually.
These kids are amazing.
Because there's,
Of course, they're being made fun of by
the trolls.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're so articulate. They are.
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
It just, there are just very bright, articulate, and you know, how can legislators not listen to kids who say, protect us?
Oh, and but they listen, speak out of both sides of their mouth.
I know.
State senator in